A Sunday matinee of action between Miami and Ferris State here from Oxford as they close out the season opening series here on a beautiful afternoon in Southwest Ohio. Luke West Poley with you here on our Red Hawk Radio pregame. Miami and Ferris State doing battle for the second straight night. 5 p.m. start last night with the RedHawks and Bulldogs battling to a 2-2 tie. Ferris State would win the shootout. That would not count for NCAA purposes, but if you want to call it that, a victory for the Bulldogs in game one of the series. Here in game two, Miami looking to pick up their first win on the season on this Sunday before the traditional Friday-Saturday series begin as the RedHawks hit the road next weekend to take on the Riverhawks from UMass Lowell. Take a look at some of the lineup changes for each team. It's a full substitution of the fourth line for the Bulldogs as Zach Fairmouth, Cade Kowalski, and Austin McCarthy, the fourth line from left to right from last night, all out of the lineup tonight for Ferris State. They will be replaced by Caden Galt. Antonio Venuto, who had a pair of goals, led the team last year in their series against the RedHawks, and Nick Dardicia. He will be on the right wing for the Bulldogs as well. Logan Stein still going to be in the Ferris State net. The only other change for the Bulldogs is their extra defenseman, as Travis Shouty is not in the lineup tonight. He will be scratched and replaced by Luke Farthing, the junior out of Stoutsville, Ohio, playing in his home state here in Oxford this afternoon. For Miami, a couple of lineup changes for the RedHawks as well. Some line shuffling. The starting line tonight for the RedHawks, PJ Fletcher has moved from the right side to the left side to replace Archer Taransky, who is out of the lineup, and Ryan Savage has bumped up into the first line right wing spot. Also for the RedHawks, Alex Murray coming in as the extra defenseman as Robbie Drasner's been bumped up to the third pairing. Michael Feenstra has been taken out of the lineup on defense for the RedHawks. It'll also be Ludwig Pearson once again in the net tonight for Miami. Talking to Coach Bergeron before the game, said he didn't feel that Archer Taransky nor Michael Feenstra did anything wrong last night in the game to not be in the lineup, but said it might be good for them to watch a game or two, and just felt that the new lineup additions for the RedHawks performed well. Those new lineup additions being Alex Murray and the new right wing on the third line for the RedHawks, and Frankie Cargiallo, the freshman out of Woodbridge, Ontario. RedHawks tied the Bulldogs yesterday 2-2, as we mentioned. Able to tie the game late as Joey Cassetti would score with 54 seconds remaining in regulation with the extra attacker on for the RedHawks as he would clean up a loose change and put Miami back even. RedHawks had quite a few chances to win it in the 3-on-3 overtime that you could say was controlled by the RedHawks, most notably a post shot from Ryan Savage. That was the closest the RedHawks came to winning it. Savage also scored in the shootout, but the RedHawks were not able to come out on top in the final frame. So we will take a short break here on our Red Hawk Radio pregame as the warm-up continues on, building to game number 2 of the Miami hockey season against Ferris State here on this Sunday afternoon. Stay with us. Back for more of the Red Hawk Radio pregame. This is Miami Hockey on Red Hawk Radio. Back here at Cady Arena, just about 24 minutes out from Miami and Ferris State here on a Sunday afternoon. Luke Poley with you here for our Red Hawk Radio pregame. Take a look at some of the scores from around college hockey last night. We'll start with the games that counted, the non-exhibitions in our game, Ferris State and Miami tying 2-2. And Miami's opponent next weekend, UMass Lowell, having no issues taking down St. Lawrence 4-0. As former Miami coach Brent Brecky falls in the first game of the season. Another former Miami coach, Enrico Blasi, put up a fight against St. Cloud, but the Tommies ultimately fall at home in that one, with St. Cloud winning it 3-1. Union beats RIT 4-3. Boston University with a blowout win at Agnes Arena against Bentley 8-2. Duluth was down early against Arizona State, but rallied to win it in overtime. 3-2 was the final from Amsoil Arena. Ohio State on the road in Erie against Mercyhurst. Buckeyes pick up game one of the series, 4-2 the final in that one. Northeastern takes down LIU, who continues to fight tough with some really good teams. The Huskies' 8th-ranked team in the nation won it 3-2 in overtime last night. Lindenwood making their Division I hockey debut against the #1 team in the country, according to many, the Minnesota Golden Gophers. Minnesota wins that one 4-0 in the series opener. Perhaps the biggest upset of the night, as making their triumphant return to college hockey, the Seawolves from Alaska Anchorage beat Western Michigan 3-1 at home last night. AIC and Alaska battled to a 1-1 tie away from the mainland as well. In CCHA play, Bowling Green defeats Northern Michigan 6-4, and the only other conference game was in the Hockey East, as UConn headed to Gutterson Fieldhouse in Burlington and knocked off the Vermont Catamounts 4-1 was the final in that one. Very interesting as well, the new NCAA rule this year allowed NCAA teams to play each other for exhibition games that would not count towards the pairwise or their overall record, according to CHN. And the traditional Canadian model that a lot of teams play was also in effect last night. Saw some Canadian teams come down and play exhibitions against American opponents, but also saw a lot of exhibitions between NCAA teams. Providence beats Western Ontario 5-2. Michigan Tech defeats Lake Superior in a would-be CCHA game 5-2, but of course it was an exhibition. Quinnipiac takes down University of Toronto 4-2. Colgate defeats RPI on the road 4-2. Clarkson defeats Ottawa 7-3. Sacred Heart knocks off UMass in Amherst. 3-2 is the final from the Mullins Center. Maine defeats Prince Edward Island 1-0. U.S. National Under-18 team taking on Michigan State on the road at Munn Ice Arena. The Under-18 team won it last night 4-3. Michigan defeats Windsor 8-2. North Dakota knocks off Manitoba 5-1. Perhaps the most shocking result, and maybe a message to the rest of the NCHC and college hockey. Omaha takes down Minnesota State by a 7-2 mark from Baxter Arena. A statement victory, albeit in an exhibition for the Mavericks. Holy Cross knocks off Boston College 3-2. Colorado College defeats Air Force on the road 5-1. And the most interesting game of the night, you could say, at least leading in, was not very interesting throughout, as defending national champions Denver take down ACHA foe UNLV by a 10-0 score. Full docket of games on the calendar once again tonight. A lot of teams playing the same opponents, a couple of changes, but not a whole lot in terms of non-conference games. Pretty much the same. St. Thomas is going to play at St. Cloud. That'll be a home-and-home tonight instead of what we traditionally have, the 2-game series. But other than that, all the same in the non-exhibition games here on this Sunday. About 20 minutes out from Miami and Ferris State as we look to get our first decisive result of the season for the RedHawks, whether it be win or loss after the tie last night. We'll be back to break it all down when we return as the Red Hawk Radio pregame rolls along here from Cady Arena. Stay with us, more on the way. This is Miami Hockey on Red Hawk Radio. Back to Cady Arena, Miami and Ferris State just about 15 minutes away here on this Sunday afternoon. Take a look at our matchup for tonight and how these teams fared yesterday in the 2-2 tie. As we look at the game from yesterday, Ferris State would jump out to a 1-0 lead after a scoreless first period between the two teams on a power play goal that came early on from Jason Brancho, minute 21 into the period. Just attempt to give a backdoor pass across, hit off a RedHawk defenseman, and trickled between the legs of Ludwig Pearson to give the Bulldogs the lead. Miami would respond, though, about 6 minutes later as Matthew Barbolini would take a shot that was initially stopped off the stick of Zane Dempsey and pick it up on the back post and find the back of the net. It was wide open for him. That would tie the game up at 1-0, and that was how we entered the third period. Bulldogs would jump back out in front, though, just 2 minutes and 18 seconds in as Jacob Dirks was able to beat Ludwig Pearson and give the Bulldogs the lead, but Miami remaining resilient in a back-and-forth third really found their stride the last 5 minutes or so, and it was Joey Cassetti that provided the equalizer with just 54.7 seconds remaining on the clock as Miami knotted it up at 2. It was a night for Miami that they felt they had probably been the better team of for at least most of the game, but still came up short eventually in the shootout. The RedHawks had a couple of chances to win it in the 3-on-3 overtime. 5 minutes of it, we saw a couple of posts and some really good chances for the RedHawks, but unable to finish and pick up that decisive result before the eventual tie that we came to last night. Take a look at some of our key stat lines from yesterday, and Jack Clement was a guy who had a fantastic game for the RedHawks in his first game wearing the C for Miami, selected for that a couple of months ago. Clement blocked 4 shots, which was a team high for Miami in the game, including a potential game saver on an odd man rush in overtime. Jack Clement, a guy that looked really, really solid for the RedHawks yesterday. We mentioned the line shuffling and just kind of some testing going on right now for the coaching staff, and Chris Bergeron, talking before the game, said that he's just kind of trying new things as you'd expect from the early season series. Now, the second game for the RedHawks, and a couple of new faces into the lineup that we mentioned early on, in Frankie Cargiallo and Alex Murray, and also some shuffling as well as PJ Fletcher is flipped to the left side. Ryan Savage moves up to the first line as well for the RedHawks, and it should be very interesting to see how those new players fare in their new spots. Pretty light crowd, as you may expect from a Sunday afternoon game here at Goggin Ice Center, Steve Cady Arena, and still filing in for this one as Miami and Ferris State set to go in about 14 minutes. We will come back in just a moment and wrap things up, get ready for first puck drop between Miami and Ferris State. Stay with us. Red Hawk Radio pregame continues when we return. Back here at Cady Arena, Miami and Ferris State. In just about 10 minutes, we'll have the opening puck drop. Take a look at our goaltender matchup for tonight. Logan Stein in the net for Ferris State, as he was yesterday. Junior out of Sewanee, Georgia. Had a 1.85 goals against average, 946 save percentage yesterday, and of course was able to pick up some crucial saves in that shootout that gave the Bulldogs the eventual win, as Stein will make his second start of the season as he looks to solidify that spot as the #1 starter for Ferris moving forward. In the Miami net, of course, it's going to be Ludvig Persson, junior out of Hinda, Sweden. Performed well last night. 1.88 goals against average, 905 save percentage for the Swede. Chris Bergeron was pleased with his performance, talking to him pregame, said that he really felt it was nice to have Persson in the back of the net there for Miami last night and not be overworked as we saw in many games a season ago. Persson was finally able to play behind a team that heavily outshot the opponent last night in Ferris State. And Persson made 19 saves in the effort for the RedHawks. Persson versus Stein, the goaltending matchup once again tonight. Both schools going with the same look as yesterday in the net, despite the lineup changes that both teams made throughout the rest of their lineup. Take a look at the preview for the RedHawks and what's to come for Miami after this one, as they will head to UMass Lowell next weekend. It'll be a 7:15 p.m. start on Friday, 6:05 p.m. start on Saturday, and we will carry that game here on Red Hawk Radio, as Patrick will have the call of those games as well. And the RedHawks will be off, and it'll be another road series that we'll cover here the weekend after that on Red Hawk Radio, as Miami takes on Canisius in Buffalo. Friday, 7 p.m. start. Saturday is a 4 o'clock start. Next home game for the RedHawks will be their first conference series of the season, as they take on the Denver Pioneers on October 28th and 29th. 7:05 start on Friday, 5:05 start on Saturday. Business as usual for Miami. And Coach Chris Bergeron said of the turnaround, if you want to even call it that, kind of downplayed it, said that the 3:05 game, not really a huge deal when you think about it. They weren't, of course, able to play a game on Friday this week, given that yesterday was October 1st, first day that the NCAA allowed the teams to play, as here come the RedHawks. But he said of that turnaround, playing at 5:05 on Saturday, 3:05 on Sunday, it's just like the 2-hour difference, and you have a little less than 24 hours to prepare, just like you do in a normal weekend series. They elected to keep the 5:05 Saturday start and move up to 3:05 like they normally would, a couple of hours on Saturday. Very light crowd on hand here on a Sunday afternoon between Miami and Ferris State, as we'll have lineups and anthem here momentarily from Goggin Ice Center. Patrick Geshan, Jack Schmelzinger will have the call in just a bit. Sunday matinee hockey action here on Red Hawk Radio.
and the Miami University Cradle Coaches in 2004. We now ask for a moment of silence in remembrance of Roger Crover. Thank you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, would you please rise, remove your caps, and join us as we honor America with the playing of our national anthem.
All right, we welcome you to Steve Coach Cady Arena here in Oxford, Ohio on the campus of Miami University. It's game 2 of the series to open up the season for both Miami and Ferris State. Patrick Geshan, Jack Schmelzinger are with you. Let's take a look at tonight's starting goaltenders. We'll start with the RedHawks, number 32, Ludwig Pearson in the Miami net, junior from Hindus, Sweden. In one game played this season, the 0-0-1 record, 1.88 goals against. He made 90.5% of the saves last night. In net for Ferris State, number 31, Noah Geisbrecht. He did not start last night, making his first start of this season. Sophomore, 6'4", 202 for Geisbrecht, who is from White Rock, British Columbia. Ferris State, same uniforms as last night. It is the kind of dark red / maroon, white number, white name on the back. The Ferris State gold bulldog on the front with a red helmet. RedHawks, same uniforms as last night as well. It is white with the red helmet on the front, red name, red number on the back, and the white helmets for Miami. Referees this afternoon will be Brian Hankus and Steven Renault. Logan Belgraf and Troy Merritt will work the lines. RedHawks move right to left across your radio in period number 1. It is a very light crowd on hand on this Sunday here at Steve Cady Arena as we close out the season opening series between these two teams. Ferris State controls the draw from center ice to get us going, gets it deep to the near corner of the Miami zone. RedHawks will work it out here. PJ Fletcher will skate it through center ice over the Bulldog line left wing. He'll fire a shot up off the defender's stick and out of play, deflected off the stick of Blake Eveno. And our game's first stoppage comes 18 seconds in. 2-2 tie between these two teams last night. It was eventually decided in a shootout win for Ferris State. Bulldogs took it in what was a pretty close, well-played game between each team yesterday evening. RedHawks on the draw, near circle their offensive zone. PJ Fletcher works it in the near corner. Board battle here with Drew Cooper. The puck lodged up against skates and the boards. Laid up to the left point. Here's Jack Clement. Slides it right point. Play there to Zane Dempsey. Back for Clement. Center blue line. Flew a shot just left of the net on the ice. Fletcher picks it up. Skates high slot. It's at middle blue line here for Dempsey. Skates left point. Dishes off right point. Clement soft wrister in just wide of the net. Puck carried kind of behind the cage. Picked up by Ferris State. And it was Picorni who works it out of the zone on the left wing. And the RedHawks back in their own zone to get it. Zane Dempsey will control behind his net for Miami just over a minute into the opening period. Jack Clement fires it far side. A feed that was picked off there from Ferris State's Jason Branchaw. Miami able to work it back into the neutralized area. They'll flip a dump-in attempt into the Ferris State bench in the right wing. It was Dempsey who tried to do that. And another stoppage in a center ice truck coming up. 18:47 left in the opening period.
After last night's game, Coach Chris Bergeron told the media that he was pretty happy with how his team played. He just thought that they needed to capitalize on a few more opportunities and play a little bit more sound defensive hockey. He also mentioned that this team, especially the older players, has a chip on its collective shoulder. These guys are angry about what's been happening to them the last couple of years.
Just kind of a frustrating start to the season last night, and the opportunities to talk about hitting the net on shot attempts. Just trying to capitalize on offensive chances. Defensive ones too. Pass to the neutral zone, gets tipped out of play on the far side. Ryko's trying to hit Cady, I believe, at the Bulldog line. Went off his stick, up and out of play into the student section on the far side. We have some students here today, but probably about a third of what we had last night.
Yeah, and you said it well yesterday, Patrick. There's the NFL to contend with today, homework. Just kind of a tough time for a game if you're a student.
Competing for a lot of attention today if you're Miami. Alex with the neutralized draw. Drasner feeds it over on the far side. The give and go with Nick Donato. Left wing Pletzky at center ice. Chips it forward to Helene over the Bulldog line on the left wing. Pletzky growls the puck. Offensive zone near corner. Works it far side. Pletzky with it back at the half wall. Try to feed it to the line. I get picked off there by Nick Nardicia for Ferris State. Try to go over the RedHawk line on the right wing. The rush broken up. Ferris was offside. RedHawks trying to stick work the puck in their own zone. They're going to get it. In the near circle, Robbie Drasner will corral it in the near corner of the Miami end. Feed it up left wing. A bad pass for Chase Pletzky. He could not control. Ferris State back with it at center ice on the near wing. Nardicia goes with a cross corner dump in on the right side of center ice. And here comes Miami skating up the near wing with it. And it is Nick Donato out of his own zone. Cuts through center ice, chips it into the Bulldog line. Into their zone. To the near corner goes the puck. It is played by Merrick in a board battle there on the RedHawks. Blake Messenberg, 2 against 2, tie up for it in the near corner of the Miami offensive zone. He gets Silver in there too for Miami. Merrick for Ferris. And Schultz for Ferris State as well. Puck squirts free to the far half wall. Corralled there by Olmstead. It's picked off at the right point. Miami offensive zone. Olmstead cutting to the slot. Fired a wrister. Maybe get tipped over the net. Went to the far corner. And Ferris State will backhand it out of the zone back to center. Off the stick of Caleb Ergang. RedHawks quickly get it right back in. Off the dump in by Ryquist. Olmstead loses a race for it. And the near corner went up to Moulton, who fired a shot. Another chance in the far circle. Ryan Savage couldn't get that through. Olmstead had a shot blocked in the far circle as well. Left point Moulton with it. RedHawks keep it in. He fires a shot top of the near circle. A few feet wide right of the net. Ryquist keeps it in right point. Moulton center blue line now got a feed. Back for Ryquist. Left point one-timer. Good shot and a good save made with the right pad of the goaltender in Geisbrecht. Another shot came in left point. Ryquist sets it wide left to the net. And they go to the near circle now. Feed from Red Savage over to Ryquist. Plays it in front. They score! Jack Olmstead knocked it in. RedHawks a really good shift there in the offensive zone. Ryquist near circle. Fed it in front. And Olmstead the finish on the backhand on the far post. Good backdoor look there on Giesbrecht. And it's 1-0 Miami. 3 minutes and 44 seconds in.
Patrick, it looks a little bit like yesterday's first period out here. Miami really controlling play so far and also missing the net a lot on that shift. 3 or 4 shots wide, but eventually Hampus Radquist finds Jack Olmstead and put one right where it needs to be.
Yeah, that time they do capitalize on the offensive opportunity. Ferris State through center ice, works it deep into the near corner of the Miami zone. Corny with it here behind the net. Clement sticks it out up the far side. Ferris State keeps it in. Quick chance. They get it behind the net, but Corny trying to wrap it around. He get blocked down though on the attempt by Dempsey, the RedHawk defender back. Puck back towards center ice. Chipped up the left wing by Ferris State into the Miami zone to the far corner. Dempsey's on it. Rims it around the boards to the near half wall. Off the skate of his own man there. And Fletcher carries back behind the RedHawk net. In far corner, Dempsey's got it. To the near corner now, Clement, rink wide feed to the right side. He hit a pass there to Dukovac, and we get a penalty called behind the play. This might be against Miami, I believe it is. RedHawks had possession of the puck when the whistle blew, and they are going to take number 10 in white, and that's Zane Dempsey for the penalty. Maybe 2 minutes for roughing. Dempsey must have done something behind the play we didn't see. And Miami will kill a penalty here with 15:44 to go in the opening period. See the Ferris State power play for the first time tonight. They were 1 for 3 last night with 6 shots. Bulldogs win the draw in the far circle. Miami zone. They can't keep it in at the blue line. Barbolini skates out through center. Over the Bulldog line, left wing, near circle, trying to center it over. Cady was wide open for the pass, but a Ferris State stick got on the feed and knocked it behind the Bulldog net. Drew Cooper was getting out of his own net for Ferris State. With almost 20 seconds gone by in the power play. Tulik over the Red Hawk line here on the right wing. Dumps it into the near corner. Donato crashes into the boards down there with Brad Merrick. Puck squirts up the near half wall. Ferris State offensive zone. Right point slick with it. Goes top of the far circle. Fed it over to Branchaw. Gets it down to the far corner where a feed comes up past the left point area. Merrick trying to go to Cooper. Get tipped en route. And Ferris State has to regroup at the neutral zone. So Dallas Tulik with that, near wing and neutral ice. Dishes back to Cooper, and in the far circle it's Connor McGrath. We'll go back to Cooper, 1:03 to go in the Ferris State power play. Redhawks lead the game 1-0. Luke Farlick, give and go feed up the left wing to the neutral zone with McGrath. Bulldogs over the Red Hawk line left side. Loose puck behind the net, can't be cleared by a Miami player back there. That was Barbolini. Right point, McLaren got a feed. And a little wrist shot kind of knuckle pucked its way in on Pearson, who makes the glove stop. Not a whole lot of traffic to contend with either for Ludwig. 47 to go in the power play and 14:30 to go in the first period.
Patrick, a couple lineup changes today for the Redhawks. Ryan Savage replaces Artur Taransky on that first line.
Yep.
And Frankie Caro-Giello, I'll learn to say that name next time I have to say it, is in for his first collegiate game in the third line.
That's a tough one. It's got about 7 syllables in it.
And I've looked at the pronunciation at least 5 times, and I just can't remember it.
It's a hard one to memorize.
Caro-Giello.
Yep. Redhawks will play defense here. Puck goes far corner. Their own zone. Jack Clement wins a battle. Lifts it out off the high glass all the way down the ice. Redhawks still killing the penalty here for the next 20 seconds. The roughing minor to Dempsey. Far corner goes, Ferris State zone. Redhawks a good PK forecheck here. Farthing works it free though, and here come the Bulldogs up the ice. And is McGrath through center. Right wing feed for Schleppe over the Red Hawk line. Tried a rink wide feed, went a few feet behind Picorni in the far circle. Puck works its way to the near half wall. Ferris State keeps it in right point. Schulteis makes a feed down low. We're back to 5-on-5 as it trickles its way back to the neutral zone, and the Bulldogs regroup and get a change. Schulteis cross corner dump into the left wing of the Miami zone. In the corner. And Drasner with it near side after getting a feed there from Barbolini. Back out to center, goes up the left wing. Cady trying to skate it through, ran into some trouble. Redhawks work the puck though in the offensive zone. Dukovac near circle, trying to feed it over. Cady on the back door, couldn't quite get his stick on the puck. Dukovac with it to the right point. The feed goes out of the zone for Alex Murray, number 24 in white, who makes his first appearance of the year. And he's going to dump this one into the Ferris State zone. Redhawks get a change in the far corner. Barbolini's on it for Miami, far half wall, feeds it down low. Dukovac in front for the far side. Cady wide open in front, couldn't one-time it. Another pass to Cady, couldn't get his stick there on the puck. And Dukovac dumps it in right wing of center ice, full 5-man change for Miami. That's slick out of his own zone for Ferris State, right wing feed. Skating it forward, Evano, trying to get it over the Red Hawk line right wing. He did momentarily. Miami quickly though on the puck. Clean steal away by Moulton. Through the center circle he goes. Right wing feed for Helene over the Bulldog line. Weak wrist shot, just went a few feet wide left of the net. Bulldogs work this one back out to center. Redhawks pass around here, getting the puck back. There is Caro-Giello. We'll flip this one into the far side corner. And out of play on a dumping attempt there, just too high off the glass. Let's try that again. Caro-Giello. Got it out of play to send us to the media timeout. 12:20 left, opening period. Redhawks the 1-0 lead on the goal early on in the game. And that's where we stand, Miami Hockey on Red Hawk Radio. Patrick Geshan, Jack Schmelzinger with you high above the ice, Steve Cady Arena. And they 1-0 lead for the Miami RedHawks. 12:20 left in the opening period of this closing game in the season opening series. And a really good start so far, Jack, in this first period.
Yeah, Miami really has been all over the ice just like they were in yesterday's first period. We talked about it a lot yesterday, just playing a consistent 60 minutes of hockey. Miami really hasn't proven that they can do that yet over the last few years, but every game is a potential turning point, so we'll see here.
And a little bit of ice work going on at this media timeout in the Ferris State bench. In front of one of the doors, a lot of snow kind of built up, so they're trying to shovel that out of the way and scrape it. I wonder if somebody complained over there on the Ferris State bench, so they're going to shovel up the snow. We'll get going here. 12:20 to go in the opening period. The only goal so far in the game, and the difference, the Jack Olmstead goal. Hampus Rydquist, Red Savage getting assist on that, came 3:38 into the opening period of the game. Center ice draw out of our timeout, and it's Helene who wins it back for Miami, but Ferris State gets ahead and dumps it in up the left wing and behind the Red Hawk net, and it was Dielstra who did that. Dielstra with a puck, far circle, little backhand shot. Pearson a good save with a shoulder. Ferris State quick forecheck, shot from the right point. Schulteis sends it in, right pad save by Pearson. Goes over to the far corner. Helene picks it up, gets it to Clement, far circle. He mishandled it. McLaren gets it. Dielstra top of the far circle. Ferris State back on offense. Little backhand shot. Good block by Helene to knock it to the near corner. Redhawks break it out up the left wing. Pletzky advances it forward. This goes all the way down the ice, far corner, Ferris State zone. The icing waved off. Cooper kind of beat it out for the Bulldogs. Worked up right wing at center. Branshaw dumps it into the near corner. Dylan Moulton first to it for Miami. Bulldogs in a full 5-man change with 11.5 to go in the opening frame. Here is Messenberg over the Bulldog line, right wing. Drops it back. Olmstead top of the far circle with a rip just wide right of the net. Took a bounce off the shelf on the boards. Up and out of play in the near corner of the Ferris State zone. We'll get a stoppage with 11:24 to go in the first.
Patrick, I know it's a lot easier said than done with traffic out there on the ice and things moving at game speed, but do you think that these Redhawks are going to be practicing just their shots hitting the net this week?
I don't know.
Already today, they only have 4 shots on goal. They must have at least 10 shots.
I'm sure that'll be a point of emphasis. It's such an easy thing to change, too.
Yeah, it almost just seems like it almost seems like a yips type of thing, like they're just in their own heads about it a little bit.
11 shots in the game for Miami, and only 2 have hit the net, to your point.
Oh, we only have 2. I was looking at the scoreboard wrong, too, actually.
We got a penalty here up to... Yeah, you're right. We got a penalty before the faceoff. Messenberg's going to go. Wonder if he got a faceoff call here. It was weird. The faceoff was set up far circle of Miami offensive zone, and Messenberg, the center, must have committed 2 faceoff violations. And Ferris State all of a sudden back to the power play. And they'll drive it from the right point. It was a slick shot. Left pad save made by Pearson with the puck going to the near corner. So you look for Slick here at the right point. Giving goal feed at the line with his defensive partner Cooper. Cooper center blue line. Feeds it over top of the far circle. And then here is Branshaw. Get it back to the left point here for Cooper. Quick rip in. I get blocked by the legs of Dylan Moulton. Slick with it here on the right point. Center blue line. Cooper shoots it in. Gets tipped wide of the net. Kind of caromed off the end boards. Pearson a stick check there to get it out of danger. Slick back with it right point. Far circle with the puck here is Branshaw. And a feed there to the right point. Back to Slick was wide left of him. Redhawks pick it up. Red Savage didn't really get a stick on the puck there. Miami a little broken rush the other way. And they're going to turn it over. And Tulik with it behind the Ferris net. 1:10 to go on the power play for the Bulldogs. Ferris State controls. 4-man change in the PK for Miami. Ferris State will change pretty much everybody on the power play as well. With 56 to go in it. Here in the middle stages here, the first period, we have a 1-0 Miami lead early on. Bulldogs over the Red Hawk line right away. Picorni trying to poke it ahead. He couldn't, got turned over. Barbolini over the Bulldog line left side. Cassetti trying to return it to the middle. Little backhand shot. Clement came in late. That went wide. He had a wraparound try from Cassetti, unsuccessful against the far post. And Schleppy rushes the other way for Ferris State. Over the Red Hawk line on the left wing, goes in behind the net. Clement pokes it forward up to the near half wall where Cassetti grabs it here and lifts it out through center ice into the near corner of the Ferris State zone. 20 to go in the power play here. Bulldogs with it behind their net. Quickly turned over. Pletzky on the PK. Forecheck. Defeated front. Wide open Silver. Kind of fan on the one-time chance. Went on the ice wide left of the net. The corny far half wall Ferris State zone. Dishes back in his own end. Picked up here by McLaren. 2 seconds to go on the power play, and that's going to expire. Ferris State is going to be back to 5-on-5. 0 for 2 on the power play tonight are the Bulldogs. Puck in the center circle. Silver with it. Chips it over the line on the left wing. Pletzky fires it in. And a good glove save is made there by the Bulldogs goaltender in Giesbrecht with 9:11 to go in the opening period. We'll try to figure out what exactly that penalty was during the break, but we'll take a quick one here. 1-0 Miami over Ferris State. Back in moment, Miami Hockey on Red Hawk Radio. 9:11 to go in the first period. Patrick Geshan, Jack Schmelzinger with you high above the ice here at Steve Cady Arena. And the game, Miami leads 1-0 thanks to a Jack Olmstead goal. A little less than 4 minutes into the game. We got a draw coming up to the right of Giesbrecht out of this timeout in the Ferris State net. Near circle, the Miami offensive zone. Red Savage going to take this one against Luke Farthing. Clean win Savage back to the left point. Drasner sends it around the boards to the far corner. Picked up by Alex Murray, pinching in from the right point. Ryan Savage on it, fed a weak centering feed in front. It was picked off there by Galt. We'll fire this one all the way down the ice, back to the RedHawks zone. Drasner first to it for Miami in the far corner. Flips it out, rink wide feed to the near side. Bulldogs with it in their own zone. That is Evano. Plays it up the near wing. Fletcher steals it away, kind of poked it to the middle. Red Savage over the Bulldog line with a shot through the high slot. It was a clean rip there on the snapper. And a good glove save to knock it out of the air. The goaltender in Giesbrecht. Draw coming to his right, 8:40 left in the opening period.
Really nice stick work there from Red Savage. Kind of fishes that puck out from between two Bulldogs and able to get the shot off without a whole lot of space, just reminding us why he's one of the most skilled players on this Red Hawk team.
It's really fun to watch. One of the hardest shots on the team.
Really great skater, too. I feel like his edges have looked a lot better even just this season.
I agree. That work over the summer paying off for a lot of these guys. Face off one to the near corner by Miami. The offensive zone. Barbolini trying to feed it over to Cassetti. Get tipped off his stick, up and out of play. Schulteis, the one to do that, off his right-handed twig for Ferris State. Put the draw back to the right of Giesbrecht. 8:36 to go in the opening period. Cassetti wins it to the near half wall. Bulldogs grab it from there, but can't clear. Dukovac rips a shot to the far corner of the offensive zone for Miami. Schulteis tried to clear. Dukovac picked it off. Feed far circle. Barbolini is shot. Good save by the blocker of Giesbrecht. Bulldogs soft clear out the center. RedHawks grab it there. Playing in over the Bulldog line, left wing Barbolini. Dukovac now near circle. Fired a rip just wide right of the net. Olsen pulls it tired, trying to get the puck from the far half wall. This one played behind the net. RedHawks still with it. Dukovac in the offensive zone near corner. Feeds it off for Reichwitz. Skates it to the far side. Little wrap around centering. Play in front. They score! Good rim around the net there by Hampus Reichwitz. A little backhand play to the near post. And there to finish it off was Matt Barbolini with a goal. On the forehand, just kind of standing, hanging out on the near post. Good feed through the crease as Reichwitz connects with Barbolini. Soft one-timer into the open net, and it's 2-0 Miami with 8 minutes to go in the opening period.
Do you think Reichwitz meant to do that, or do you think he just threw it in the front?
I don't know.
I couldn't tell who was more surprised, that Matt Barbolini that puck was on his stick, or Hampus Reichwitz that it actually found someone.
Either way, it all worked out.
Sure did. Beautiful goal, too.
So the RedHawks up 2-0. And with it back in the offensive zone out of our face-off, Helene sends it around to the near corner. Ferris State works it up from there off the stick of Evano to the near corner of the Miami zone. Clement back for it, chips it ahead to Helene. Up the near boards. Can't really clear it. McGrath picked it off. Center blue line slick. Offensive zone. Ferris State. A quick snapshot. Pearson with a flash of leather to pick it out of the air. And this clock is stopped with 7:28 to go in the opening period. Miami up 2-0 on Ferris State. As the goal came from Barbolini. And the assist to Hampus Ryquist and Max Dukovac to get Miami up 2-0 with exactly, well, that goal came 12 minutes into the first period.
Pretty good start to the season for all three of those guys. 2 points through the first 2 games,
yep.
and especially Dukovac playing in his first 2 college games.
Barbolini had the first Miami goal last night as well. Fucking the far side, Miami zone. Messenberg works it out, feeds it through the middle of center ice. Olmstead over there on the left wing. Murray over the Bulldog line near corner. Backhand shot through the crease. Nobody could get a stick on that. Bulldogs lifted out back to center as it was flown through the air by Picorni. Behind his own net, Nick Donato feeds it far side. Miami zone. The puck went off his stick to the near side of center ice. Played down the right wing by McLaren and behind the RedHawk net. Stopped there by Pearson out of his cage. Leaves it for Alex Murray to the near circle. Fed to Messenberg. Left wing pass through center off the stick of Silver right to Farthing of Ferris State. Bulldogs with it near wing. Schleppy the backhand over the RedHawk line to the near corner. Nick Donato's on it for Miami. Will take it behind his own net, trying to get around this Ferris State forecheck. Silver hits Messenberg far circle, works it out back to center. Bulldogs clear it in. They'll have to tag up on the offside. Near corner goes the puck to Miami zone. Murray D to D. Donato the flip, trying to go to center. Get gloved down there by Benuto. They don't call a hand pass. Looked like maybe gets tipped there off his hand to another Ferris State player in the far half wall as the pass there went over to Keenan Gold. RedHawks will clear this one from the far corner of their own zone all the way down the ice. That's an icing as Donato did that for Miami. Clock stop with 6:08 to go in the opening period. The face-off will come down into the RedHawk zone.
Patrick, kind of interesting. It just kind of goes with what we've seen so far this year and going back a little bit to last year. Miami scores their big second goal and then all of a sudden we're down here in the Miami defensive zone for a minute or so and we have to ice it. So we'll see if Miami can get back to kind of swarming the ice like they were just a couple of minutes ago before that second goal was scored.
It's been a long shift for this group too, about a minute or so. They've been out. Look in the far corner after the face-off. Renshaw picks it up near corner. McLaren for Ferris State. Donato will get in a battle here with Alex Murray. 2 against 2 they'll go as Dielstra joins the party for the Bulldogs. Near corner again in the RedHawk zone. Dielstra works it out behind the net, feeds it to the far circle. Slick cannot pick up the pass on his stick. Far corner goes the puck here. Dielstra takes it behind the net. Good hit by Red Savage trying to knock him off the puck. Can't do so. Even all right point with a shot. Blocker save Pearson. Over to the far half wall goes the rebound. Slick plays it back to the far corner. McLaren grabs it. Pass to the slot. Slick let it go off his stick to the right point. Even though a shot rebound in front. Pearson is outstretched. The puck still loose. Finally covered up by Ludvig and the whistle blows with 5:20 left in the first. Yeah, even though shoot it in, his little snapper from the right point. Ludvig made the same with his right blocker. And then a couple of Bulldogs in there trying to poke at the rebound in the blue paint. The whistle was delayed. The puck must have been loose. Pearson finally covered with, I think, his right leg, and the draw to his right with 5:20 left in the first. Ferris State leads the shots 10-6. Miami, though, up on the scoreboard 2-0. Barbolini and Olmstead goals so far in the game for the RedHawks in the first. Ferris State, the offensive zone draw went to the left point. A little snapshot came in right to the breadbasket of Pearson, who makes the stop off the stick there of Brendan Rons, the defenseman from Farmington Hills, Michigan. Suburban Detroit, draw to the right of Pearson coming up. 5:15 to go in the first. Clean win Cassetti for Miami to the far corner, RedHawk zone. Hampus Ryquist up the right wing, tried to send a pass forward, went off of Dukovac's stick in on the Ferris State net from the Miami zone, covered up there by Giesbrecht, and the draw will come to his left on the stoppage in the Ferris State net with 5:06 to go in the opening period. That one trickled in on him from the Miami zone all the way down the ice, and Players skating down, trying to go after the puck. Just a smart cover there by Giesbrecht. And the Hawks get the offensive zone draw. You get Geshan, Barbolini, and Dukovac with forwards out there. Ryquist and Moulton are on defense. Geshan will take this draw up against Picorni of Ferris State. Clean win to the far corner. Brendan Rons is on it. Gets it all the way down the ice off the high glass breakout that kind of didn't quite work there for Ferris State. It'll be the icing call here with 4:59 to go in the opening period. The draw to the right of Giesbrecht.
Patrick, what happened to the alternates that Miami would wear on the second day of series a lot last year with the cool baseball style ones with the nice script across the front? I like those.
I believe they're still in use. I don't know why
awesome.
They're not out today.
Somebody's got to talk to the equipment manager.
I don't know. I didn't have that conversation today. Puck in the far circle, Ferris State zone. Picorni got picked off there by Barbolini. Sends a pass to the left point. Ryquist plays it off the backhand of the near half wall. Shoots it in. Little snapper from at the rim of the near circle. Good glove save was made by Giesbrecht. Peering through traffic. And we'll get a stop here with 4:44 to go in the first. RedHawks lead at 2-0 over Ferris State. Back in a moment. Miami Hockey on Red Hawk Radio.
.444 to go here in the first period. Miami on top of Ferris State, 2-0. Coming up at intermission, we will have full coverage on our Red Hawk Radio intermission report. Analysis of the first period of play, looks around college hockey and more, all coming up in the next 4:44 on our Red Hawk Radio intermission.
Thank you, Luke. Looking forward to that. Good chunk of this first period still to go. Miami holding on to that 2-0 lead despite being outshot by Ferris State 11-8. And we'll get a draw to the right of Giesbrecht in the Ferris State zone out of our timeout. One by Miami to the near corner. Helene is on it. Hits the brakes behind the cage. Works his way up to the near circle. Helene still with the puck. Dishes off left point. Dempsey with it. Little backhand play on the near half wall to work it behind the Bulldog net. Pletzky's going to pick this one up in the far corner. Little battle 1 against 2. Squirts up the far half wall. Bulldogs trying to lock it up against the boards. That was Dirks who did so. Worked free by Miami. Then Evano is going to pick it up in the far corner. Dish to the near wing for Schleppy. We'll play this one out to center ice. Good knockdown on a mid-air pass by Picorni. Over the Red Hawk line right wing with a shot. Pearson made the save with his left arm. And the rebound deflected to the near side of the zone. Red Hawks work it out. Pletzky dishes to Caragiallo over the Bulldog line on the left wing. We'll need work on that all year.
Yeah.
Here's Schleppy over the Red Hawk line on the right wing.
It's just a mouthful.
Near corner, Clement works it up to Messenberg. Flip out to center with a pitching wedge. Near half wall, Olmsted trying to work on it here against even on a one-on-one battle. Squirts back to the Miami zone. Drasner goes D to the right wing for Donato, who gets to the center ice red line to dump it in. Never mind, he never did.
Yeah, he never did.
Donato about a step short. Good call by the linesman. After he dumped it in, and the icing call whistled to Miami here with 3:31 to go in the first. I tell you what, 10 years ago that's not an icing, but nowadays it is. If you're not right on the red line.
Yeah, right. They've definitely. It's kind of like the neighborhood rule in baseball when you're turning a double play. They've kind of taken a little bit of the official's judgment out of it, I guess.
Yep. Pretty black and white now. Drasner for Miami. Gets it up the far wing boards. Brian Silver trying to work it out of his own end. Can't. Drasner with a puck back to the near circle. Goes to Donato on the left wing. Feeds it far side of center ice. Picked up by Slick. Works it up that far side of the neutral zone. Dielstra. Right wing feed. Room to skate for Branchaw. Tried a toe drag move on Drasner, who knocked away the puck with his skate to the near corner to break up the attempt. A little battle ensues in that near corner. Drasner in there with Messenberg for Miami. Drasner wins it back to the far corner. Donato goes hard to the boards there with Dielstra. The arms will stay down. Silver through the neutral zone. Get picked off there by Ivano. Silver plays it over the Bulldog line right wing. Ivano quickly on it. Gets out the 9-iron to play it back into the Miami zone. Changes going on for both teams as Ryquist plays it near wing for Red Savage. Up ahead to Ryan Savage in the slot. Offensive zone. Fletcher came in to get a loose puck. And the backhand shot was blocked away there by Giesbrecht. We had a penalty on the play. The puck went to the near half wall. Red Savage going after it. He was tripped up before getting to the puck. And with 2:28 to go in the opening period, Miami will get their first power play of the night. Try to go up 3-0 here on Ferris State as Nardicia is whistled for the tripping minor.
Red Savage really making his impact on this one so far. He made a beautiful play at the blue line there to keep the puck moving and into the zone and create that controlled zone entry, and then draws the penalty, just keeps his feet moving.
Good clean draw on the penalty from Savage. So Miami's first power play chance of the evening. They're 0 for 4 in the power play last night and got 10 shots on the man advantage. Win the draw here to start it. Fletcher at the right point in a one-on-one battle against Jacob Turks. Turks wins it, and it's sent on a loose puck down the ice by McLaren of Ferris State. In behind the Red Hawk net. 2:04 to go in the opening period, and 25 seconds gone by the power play. Ryquist skates it out through center for Miami with a Bulldog line left wing. Feeds it Barbolini, rink wide to the top of the far circle. Fletcher, far circle, Ryan Savage, long delay. The shot deflected wide right of the net on a extended slow motion toe drag move there. Right point with it is Ryquist. Skates at center blue line, opens up, gets a pass down low. Ryan Savage tipped it over the net. Goes back to the right point for Ryquist. Left point, Red Savage shoots it. Top of the near circle. He wound up for a slap shot. I believe it went off the stick down there of Barbolini and deflects off the glass all the way back into the Miami zone with 55 seconds to go in the power play.
I don't remember Red using that slap shot much last year, but he's used it 2 or 3 times this year. That thing looks dangerous.
That's what I'm saying. The snapshot looked really good earlier on. The slap shot, too. Here's Cargiallo over the Bulldog line on the left wing. Gets it to Dukovac, far half wall Helene to the right point here for Dylan Moulton. Far side Helene in the circle. Down low for Cassetti. In front, Dukovac was moving in toward the net. Quick shot into the breadbasket, the chest area of Giesbrecht. And with 57.1 to go in the opening period, the clock is stopped. 29 to go on the Red Hawk power play.
Patrick, after the game yesterday, Coach Chris Bergeron said despite the 10 shots on the power play, he wasn't really happy with the type of shots that his team was taking and the type of opportunities they were taking, but really nice puck movement there. Dukovac finds Cassetti cutting to the net, and that was the type of opportunity that you always want to take.
Right. All the time. Helene went back to the far point, and a dangerous hit there. We're going to penalty call it here against Helene, who knocked into the boards in the end wall bench Schulteis. Just one of those plays where Schulteis in a vulnerable position and just closing in on the wrong time was William Helene, the freshman from Sweden. So we'll get a review here. That faceoff went to the far corner of the Miami offensive zone. It was the player going after it there for Ferris State who just got in a vulnerable position and was hit by Helene in that far corner. I don't think it was really on purpose at all, just kind of the way the play developed. Everybody's all right down there. That's the good news. Getting up, and we will have a review here to see if it's going to be 2 or more.
A little bit reminiscent of the Hampus Radcliffe play yesterday. We saw him only get 2. It kind of seemed like his was not on purpose, which I think, like you said, probably the same thing with Helene. So we'll see here. Definitely not malicious intent on either of those hits, I would say.
Same play last night resulted in just a minor to Ryquist. And say this is probably a minor here. You got to call something. It's a dangerous hit, but wasn't necessarily done out of the intent of injuring somebody, I would say. So Helene, another Sweden native on this team. Of course, you got Ryquist and Pearson already from that country, but William Helene from Gothenburg, Sweden, which is territory that Ryquist and Pearson are very familiar with. That's where they played Swedish hockey growing up. And Ryquist played in Maryland of the NAHL. You had Pearson come out of the NAHL as well with Lone Star, but Helene played from Dubuque in the USHL. One of the 4 new Red Hawk players from Dubuque in the league. Will probably make a pretty big impact offensively on this team as soon as the year begins. He's had some really good looks so far this weekend.
Patrick Barry-Schutte compared him to Sean Corrali, a guy you know well.
Yep.
Said that he can play the wing or the center. He's a big, strong defensive center with big puck skills.
6'1", 187. So he is a pretty tall unit out there. Headsets are off in the review. Brian Hankus and Steven Renault will give us the call here. The ref mic was not working earlier. Hopefully it works now. Here we go. All right, they give him 5 for checking from behind. Helene will just stay in the box. Nothing more than that, so no game misconduct or other penalty assessed. Just going to be a 5-minute major for checking from behind for Helene. So again, you know, it was a check from behind, maybe not necessarily on purpose, but you got to call something, and they decided it was aggressive enough to warrant the 5-minute major rather than just 2.
Yeah, that's right. And Patrick, now for, well, we went into the second period of last game. Miami was on the penalty kill. We went into the third period of yesterday's game. Miami was on the penalty kill. Now we're going to the second again. Miami on the penalty kill.
Right.
It's not possible to go into the first period with a penalty kill, but they're 3 of 3 so far.
We will be 4-on-4 for the next 22 seconds. There's 48 seconds to go in the first period. Ferris State wins the offensive zone draw. It was poked off the stick, though, of Cooper at the left point back to center. Good defensive play there by Red Savage, getting a stick on that. Savage over the Bulldog line here on the right wing, hits the brakes at the right point. Walks his way back towards center, spins around at the red line center ice, and dishes back to the Red Hawk blue line for Clement. The penalty over to Ferris State. So we will now have a Ferris State power play for the next 4 minutes and 26 seconds. There's 16 to go in the first period. As the Bulldogs here, a little trouble getting out of their own zone. Tulik had it picked off by Fletcher, who drove it to the net. And a cover made by the blocker there of the netminder in Giesbrecht against the near post of his net. He had Tulik trying to work with Slick to get that puck out of the zone for Ferris State. Tulik got kind of picked off there by Fletcher, who made a nice physical play to get in, drove the puck to the net, and Giesbrecht the save. 9.7 to go in the first. Hawks have closed the shot lead a little bit. It's now 12-11. Ferris State owns that category. Draw to the right here of Giesbrecht. McCorney goes up against Geshan. Clean win Ferris, working to the far wing of the circle. Rink-wide feed to Schlepp over the Red Hawk line. Will rip a hard wrister there over the top left corner of the net in the Miami zone. Rebound picked up by Barbolini off the end boards. He'll just hold on in front of his own bench, and the time runs out in period number 1 here from Steve Cady Arena. The score after 20 minutes, Miami 2, Ferris State nothing. There will be 4 minutes and 8 seconds of power play time to carry over into the second period for the Bulldogs. It'll be a perfect chance for them on a fresh sheet to do some damage and try to close the lead as the checking from behind minor to Helene will move into period number 2. Overall, you got to be happy with Miami's play in that first period, but you got a pretty tall task ahead of you to start the second as well.
That's right, like you said, 4 minutes on the penalty kill to start the second period. That's going to be really big for Miami, and then after that, I think the most important thing will be just getting back into that rhythm, getting rolling on all gears like they were back in the first period, especially earlier in that first period. And we'll maybe start to see if Miami can hang a little bit later in games than they have been in the past.
Yep, we'll definitely see as well, but it will be a really tough penalty kill to get the period going, an extended one as well for Miami on the other side. Good chance for the Bulldogs to maybe climb their way closer back into this game. 2-0 game after the first 20. Time for the intermission report, and here is Luke West-Poley.
Patrick, thanks very much. Miami leading 2-0 after 20 minutes of play here from Oxford. Solid first from the RedHawks, and a little bit of the finishing that was not there in the opening 20 last night there for Miami as they lead by a pair heading into the opening break. Take a look at how we got here in this game, and our first period stats with Miami on top 2-0. Ferris State actually out shooting the RedHawks, something they did not do last night, 12-11. It is a narrow edge for the Bulldogs in that category. Miami with more shot attempts, though, by a large margin. The guys were really adamant talking about those missed opportunities and missing the net. 27 shot attempts and just 11 on frame for the RedHawks, while the Bulldogs pretty opportunistic, 12 on frame off 16 attempts. Miami 0 for 1 on the power play. The Bulldogs are 0 for 3 right now, but a huge chance presents itself. They've got 4 minutes and 8 seconds on the major penalty to William Halid. That will continue when they come out of the break. And like last night, Ferris with an edge in the face-off category as well. 15 wins to 10 losses for the Bulldogs. Energy was pretty good in that first period for Miami. That was something that Chris Bergeron thought he liked at times last night, but not necessarily throughout the entirety of the 60 minutes. It was certainly there, though, throughout that first. Miami got things going early as they were able to get a goal from Jack Olmstead, the Michigan transfer, put the RedHawks on the board. 3:38 in, assisted on a beautiful backdoor feed by Hampus Reichwist. Secondary assist going to Red Savage, who picks up his second point in as many games to put Miami out in front 1-0. Then with 8 minutes even left on the clock, it was another beautiful setup by Hampus Reichwist and a second point on another assist for Max Dukovac. Eventually it would find Matthew Barbolini on the back door, and the Buffalo native would knock it in to make it a 2-0 Miami lead, and that would hold throughout the entirety of the rest of the first period. Duluth out shooting Miami once again, 12-11 after the opening 20 minutes of play here from Oxford. There are some other games going on around college hockey that have already gotten underway here this afternoon, and one that has come to a close already as Quinnipiac defeats Providence in an exhibition from Hamden, Connecticut. 4-2, the Bobcats win that one. Our game at the end of the first period. A lot of games set to go at 4 o'clock. Those will include Western Ontario taking on Sacred Heart, Connecticut, and Vermont. Ohio State and Mercyhurst and Union facing off against Army from West Point. Those games all set to go in just about 10 to 15 minutes time. We'll take a short break here on the Red Hawk Radio Intermission Report with Miami leading 2-0 after 20 minutes of play. On the other side of the break, Jack Schmelzinger will join us. We'll have a full breakdown of the opening frame as Miami leads. This is the Red Hawk Radio Intermission Report. Stay with us. First intermission here from Cady Arena. RedHawks leading the Ferris State Bulldogs by a 2-0 score. Luke West Poley pleased to be joined by Jack Schmelzinger. Jack, we talked about yesterday the missed opportunities and kind of the technique, it seemed, almost wasn't there in early season form, but a lot to talk about from the opening 20 minutes and a lot of players showing some real highlight type of work. We'll start with Red Savage. You talked about it on the broadcast. His skating ability has been on full display in the opening 20 minutes. He looked really, really solid and looks to be much improved already coming in as one of the RedHawks' top offensive threats. Yeah, Luke, he's always had that straightaway speed. We all know that, but at least to me so far early in this year, he looks really good on his edges, like I said, a little more agile, just really able to change direction at the drop of a hat, and it has been really fun to watch Red Savage so far this year. Not only the skating, but the skill. His stick skills have been on full display. He's really, really good with his stick, and he's got a great shot, too. Also a really good defensive center, and he's been using his body a lot, too. So really a super complete game from Red Savage so far, including going back to yesterday. He's looked really good so far in this young season. Yeah, you mentioned the completeness. Red is going to be relied on, just a sophomore, but it almost feels like he is a veteran given the huge role he had as a true freshman on the team last year, and now into that top center role. Savage had his second assist of the season in that opening period. He led the RedHawks in shots yesterday with 5, but was held out of the goal column, hit a couple of posts in the game as well. It was just an unfortunate night in terms of bounces for Red, but not due to lack of effort. He looked really, really solid last night, and he's carried that over very clearly into today. Another guy that's really, really stuck out, we kind of got to see the shooting ability yesterday of Hampus Ryquist. He's definitely worked on that shot in the offseason. It's developed into something of a cannon, but how about the playmaking ability we saw from him in the first period? A pair of beautiful setups and backdoor feeds, 2 primary assists for the Sweep. Yeah, Luke, just going back to Red Savage real quick, it's worth noting that he's still the youngest player on this team, even this year. Yeah. The only 2003 birth year on the team, so still has a lot of physical maturing to do. And as for Hampus Ryquist, he has looked really impressive so far. Just the skating has always kind of been there. He's always been a good puck mover back there, but it kind of seems like his hockey IQ has taken a step this year almost. He's just really finding open ice well. We saw it on that first primary assist on the goal to Barbolini. I mean, the fact that he found him backdoor like that is absolutely crazy. I don't know if he saw him or if he just kind of flung it and it happened to go right to Barbolini's stick, but it was such a good pass that that's what it looked like. It really looked like he just flung it and it happened to go to Barbolini's stick. Yeah, first goal was certainly telegraphed, and the second assist for Hampus was just an unbelievable showcase of skill. He goes around the net, opens the hips, able to drag around a defender and then send it in on the back door. It was just a really, really solid play all around on both the goals from the Swedish defenseman. Well, Miami getting outshot actually here, even though maybe it didn't feel like it, but penalties have certainly hurt the RedHawks. After that opening goal, felt like Miami was really rolling in something that we hoped Miami would develop into yesterday in terms of really controlling and having a firm grip on the game. Looked like they were going to finally find that form, then took a couple of penalties in around the midway mark of that period that kind of deflated the momentum and let Ferris State back into this game momentum-wise. Yeah, and that's a problem that they had a lot last year too. They didn't really, it wasn't that they were taking a lot of penalties all the time, but when they would take penalties, they would just kind of start going in spurts and take a few bad ones. And it would happen at the worst time, like kind of like right now when you have a 1 or 2 goal lead and you really can't afford to let a team back in the game. And taking a 5-minute penalty in that situation is really unfortunate because, as we know, those don't cancel out when the other team scores. So Ferris State could really put up a lot of goals in this next 4 minutes and 8 seconds. So Miami really going to have to tighten up and take this next few minutes seriously once we come back. Yeah, the 3 penalties in the first period, none of them really good penalties, you could say, for the RedHawks. You had the rough behind the play that started it all off, and then a face-off violation, which we talked about during one of the breaks, is one of the rarest calls in hockey. You just don't see it happen because it doesn't need to come into effect that much if you cheat twice on the same face-off. And then, of course, the third, regardless of what you may think about that play, and while it certainly wasn't the most malicious thing in the world from William Helene, you can't hit a guy about 5 to 10 feet out from the boards because of the nature of how dangerous it is. And now the RedHawks are going to have to kill off a major, and Ferris State down 2. This is a perfect position to be in. You're able to go into the break. That 5-minute major gave you around the back half 30 seconds or so of a power play that you got a free kill on because it evened up the strength at 4-on-4. And then now you get to go into the break, reset, and you still got a big chunk of this 5-minute power play to try and chip into this 2-goal lead that some say is the most dangerous in hockey.
Yeah, Luke, it's pretty easy to imagine what the Ferris State coach is saying in that locker room with this big, long bus drive that they have to get back to Ferris in Michigan. But a really great opportunity coming out of the first period. You know that he is really working hard in this intermission to try and get his team to come out and seize this opportunity outside of the intermission and hopefully not take that super long bus ride back to Ferris as losers, at least hopefully for them.
Yeah, absolutely. As Bob Daniels, very much a veteran head coach in his 31st year at the helm of the Bulldogs, and probably most situations you could draw up, he's been in before as a coach, and certainly going to have some words for his team. Well, Miami's penalty kill, even though they've had to take a couple of bad penalties, has looked pretty good through the opening 20 minutes. It's obviously a little different when you have to kill off a 5. It's a lot more of a marathon, a lot more exhaustive, but one positive that you could take out of those penalties for the RedHawks is that their penalty kill's been pretty shut down. Not really a whole lot of high-quality chances that they've given to Ferris State, and, you know, maybe the 1 or 2 that you could point out, obviously, Ludwig Pearson almost always going to be there.
Yeah, and they've actually had a few scoring chances of their own on the penalty kill. I remember Matt Barbolini had a really nice one, and I think Joe Cassetti or maybe PJ Fletcher too. So obviously that's not what you're coming out of the break looking for if you're Miami. You're not coming out trying to score shorthanded goals, but if that comes, obviously that's a welcome thing. But for Miami, like we said, this is just going to be a huge next 4 minutes, and I think that if they can kill this off, they'll probably be able to seize back some of that momentum that they gave up with the 5-minute major. Yeah,
killing off a 5 is huge for momentum for any team. RedHawks have been pretty high pressure on the penalty kill, which has allowed them to generate some of those opportunities. They've stolen the puck off the point from a couple of Ferris State defensemen on those chances that you mentioned. That's probably not the priority as much on a 5-minute major. It's a lot more defensive and a lot more conservative, but nonetheless could be something to keep an eye on, as the RedHawks are going to spend a lot of time on the kill to begin this second period. Well, 2-0, Miami leading after the first period of play. Certainly a much better opening frame for the RedHawks in terms of finishing than what we saw yesterday, and it should be a fun final 40 minutes to close out this opening series. Just over a minute out from puck drop of period number 2, and that'll conclude our first intermission report here on Red Hawk Radio. Patrick and Jack will be back on the call for the middle frame when we return. This is Miami Hockey on Red Hawk Radio.
All ready to go for period number 2. It's a 2-0 lead between Miami and Ferris State. 4 minutes and 8 seconds of power play time are going to carry over in this period for the Ferris State Bulldogs as the teams take the ice for the middle period of play. Patrick Geshan, Jack Schmelzinger back with you high above the ice. Going to be a big period here for Miami, and a good kill would get it going well for the RedHawks too, Jack.
It sure is, and like Luke and I were talking about on the intermission report, this next 4 minutes and 8 seconds goes a really long way toward Miami pulling out this big victory on a Sunday.
Yep.
Nobody wants to lose on a Sunday, Patrick.
No.
Especially not a team that has to drive 6 hours back home, but
you got to start your week off strong.
That's right.
Ferris State back home next weekend. RedHawks hit the road to Lowell. Play the RiverHawks. Center ice draw. RedHawks move left to right across your radio in the second period, and it's McLaren who takes it back in the Ferris State win behind his net to get us going in the middle frame. McGrath skates it up through center over the Bulldog line on the left wing. Gets it into the near corner. PJ Fletcher on it there for Miami. Back for McGrath at the half wall. McLaren to the far circle. Played there by Picorni in this Ferris State power play that's trying to get going. Picorni let the puck slip off his stick. Moulton clears it all the way down for the RedHawks. Of course, the long second period change as well. And with 3:33 to go in the power play, Bulldogs break it out of their own zone. McGrath over the Red Hawk line left wing. Farthing through the slot, fed it over. Gets shot by Picorni. Kind of wound up for a slapper, top of the far circle. Pearson there made the stop with the left pad, covered it up, and we get a stoppage. 44 seconds into the second period, 3:24 to go on the power play for Ferris State.
Really nice positioning there from Ludwig Pearson. He's not the biggest guy. He's pretty big at 6'1", 184 pounds, but he is always in the right position. You never see him flopping around the ice.
Right. That kind of fell over to make the save. A point with it. Here's Cooper for Ferris State. Drills it back to the near corner. On it there is Jason Branshaw. Over on the far side for Slick. Down to the far corner with the puck there was Merrick. Back for Slick, right point. Merrick to give and go for Slick. Left point Cooper winds up for a slap shot. Few feet wide left of the net. Bulldogs pick it up off the end boards. Cooper with it left point. Shoots it in off a RedHawk skate. Cassetti deflected it to the near corner. Dempsey picked it up and able to clear it back to center ice. Bulldogs regroup as Cooper with it near side of the neutral zone. Rink wide feed to the far wing, played by Slick in behind the RedHawk net. Pearson cannot stop it with his stick behind the cage. Dempsey with it here on the far corner. Goes up to the far half wall where Clement picks up a loose puck and a whistle here. A helmet came off from a Ferris State player at Tulik as he got tied up there with Dempsey during that battle on the far half wall. Stops the clock. 18:29 to go in the second. 2:38 left in this power play for Ferris State. Neutralized draw coming up. RedHawk right wing closest to their blue line. Red Savage will take in against Picorni. It'll be a clean win forward for Ferris State. Farthing got a feed to the near wing, kind of misplayed it off his stick. Fletcher's on it in the neutral zone. This is back in his own end of the far corner. Robbie Drasder is on it here for Miami. Try to stick it out of the zone, but could not. And it goes to the near wing here for Donato. Plays it up the left wing boards. This goes out of play into the penalty box. Donato trying to clear it. Maybe hit Fletcher with a pass there up the right wing through center. It went up into the penalty box near where Helene is sitting. He has 2:18 left in the penalty kill for Miami. 18:10 to go in the second.
Helene actually picked that one up and gave it back to the ref.
There you go.
Making himself useful.
Draw to Pearson's right. Another one between Picorni and Red Savage. Clean one back for the RedHawks. Drasner behind his own net. Far circle Fletcher. Left wing clear all the way down the ice. RedHawks will be able to change some guys here on the PK. Bulldogs with it in their own zone, trying to break it out up the near wing. Here comes Fletcher. Dishes back in his own end for Robbie Drasner, and he will send this one all the way down the ice, in on the Ferris net, stopped by the pads there of Giesbrecht. Here come the Bulldogs. Out of their own zone, Farthing skates it over the RedHawk line on the right wing, chips it ahead to the far corner. Makes his way behind the RedHawk net, stopped there by Picorni, who tried to rim it around the boards and hit a pass on the right point for Branshaw. Branshaw 3 feet left of it, though he missed it. And it goes back behind the Ferris net. The unforced error by the Bulldogs, who clear it on their own. Trying to regroup in the near corner of their own zone is Ferris State. 1:27 to go in their major power play. Merrick with it to the line. The center ice red line left wing, dumps it in cross corner to the offensive zone. Slick on it here for Ferris State. Backhand play in the near corner was tipped away by Branshaw. Up the near wing for Ryquist, who was trying to get it out, dig it out for Miami, but Branshaw stole it away. Ryquist that picks him clean in his skates, and he's got room to skate up the right wing. Hampus to the near circle. He got hit high up there and got a weak shot off. Nice glove save was made by the goaltender Giesbrecht, but Ryquist kind of contacted up high before getting the shot off. Little shoulder to the head action by Cooper. No penalty will be called. Probably not on purpose. Hampus probably stands about 5 inches short of Cooper, just the way the hit came through. Offensive zone draw, though, coming up.
Yeah, and I think if Hampus was 6 or 7 inches shorter, that probably would have been called. But
yep. Cassetti in it, along with Merrick. Clean one back to the near corner for Cooper. 55 to go in the power play, 16:45 to go in the second. Bulldogs working up towards center. Branshaw knocks it back. Merrick over the RedHawk line left wing. A little bit of an offside there. Bulldogs had to regroup. On the delayed call, Cooper goes to the far wing in front of the RedHawk bench. Ferris State trying to make a final push on the power play here. Cooper chips it in over the RedHawk line on the right wing. Clement gets to it first. Cassetti banks it off the boards. Out back to center ice. Cooper on it for Ferris State in front of his own bench. Puck here in the near circle of the zone for Ferris State. They're going to work it back into their own end, where Slick has it in the near circle. And in behind the Bulldog net, he'll go. Ferris State changing up power play personnel with 10 seconds to go in the man advantage. 4 minutes gone by in the second period. Rons dumps it into the RedHawks zone far corner. Red Savage on it. Gets it up to the right point on a failed clearance at Ferris State. A shot in. That was Rons. And Pearson made the save. Another try. It's in the crease. And Ludwig makes the cover on a bad angle shot from the corner there by Venuto. The power play expires. We're back to 5-on-5. So, number one, Miami kills off the major to start the period. Rons had a good shot there from the left point. Rebound came off Pearson's right pad. Venuto tried to send it in from the goal line again. It was loose in the crease. The RedHawks able to find it, cover it up, and the draw to Pearson's right.
Yeah, and Patrick, in that 4 minutes and 8 seconds, only 2 shots for Ferris State. Yep. Really good kill for Miami. You got to imagine they've seized some momentum back in this game.
15:47 to go in the second period. It's a big-time start to the frame for the RedHawks. Rons with it left point, slides it right point. The shot wide of the net, off the stick of Ivano. Goes to the near corner here, picked up by Galt. Brings it around to the far corner. Venuto trying to be contacted there by Red Savage. Fletcher in the far circle. Worked it up to the line, and Rons will flip this one from the center point out of play in the far corner. Hopped up off his stick and out. 15:30 to go in period number 2.
Patrick, you know, last year Derek Dashke led all players in the NCHC in time on ice per game, and judging from what we're seeing from Red Savage this year, he's probably going to be up there among forwards this year. Yep. I mean, first line center, first unit of the power play, and what seems like their first penalty kill too. He's all over the ice. Yep. It's
going to be used for sure. All the RedHawks have him. Drasner behind the net, rimmed around the boards. Left point, Cooper keeps it in for Ferris State. The offensive zone. Tulik ends up within the slot, near wing Fee. They try to go to Dirks, who then try to get it over to the far post for Merrick. Tic-tac-toe play, never connected. Dukovac, the turnover up ahead, is shot. Barbolini in on goal. The rebound try. Dukovac couldn't get a stick on it. As the play quickly transitions to the other way. 2 good stops with the right leg there on the pad by Giesbrecht. Ferris State quickly gets it back in the offensive zone. Shot from the far corner. Good shoulder save by Pearson off the stick of Dirks. Goes to the left point. Cooper with it. Sends it wide to the near side of Pearson's net. Over on the far corner. Drasner picks up the loose puck. Dishes it out back to center. Miami grabs it there. Barbolini over the Bulldog line left wing. Kind of tripped up. And that kind of caused the entire rush to be moved off. Cassetti picked it up and went in the zone offside as Barbolini could not get up in time inside the zone for Miami. 14:36 to go, second period. RedHawks hold on to the 2-0 lead over Ferris State. This is Miami Hockey on Red Hawk Radio. .36 to go in the second period. We got a draw coming up in the neutral zone. Ferris State right wing closest to their blue line of the timeout. 2-0 Miami leads the Bulldogs in game 2 of this season opening series between 2 longtime foes. A lot of good battles between these two over the years. Miami actually leads the all-time series 47-45 and 17 coming into the game this afternoon.
Pretty impressive.
Yep. Pretty close between the two over the years. Bucket center ice after the draw. Dylan Moulton dishes near wing for Rydquist. Works it left wing near the penalty boxes. Picked up by Helene over the Bulldog line on the right wing. Works it to the near corner. Even though trying to shove it forward. Back to the line it goes. Rydquist holds it in. Fired a shot. Blocked there by McGrath, who skates it up through center. Over the Red Hawk line left wing. McGrath was kind of pickpocketed from behind there. Coming in was Caragiallo. Puck goes to the far corner here for Moulton. Over there for Pletsky at the half wall. Able to get Caragiello for the pass. Over the Bulldog line, left wing. Helene, top of the near circle, got a feed. The puck hopped over his stick. Would have been a good opportunity there for a shot. And then the Bulldogs clear this one into the penalty box. Trying to get it out of the zone up the left wing as Slick played it into the Ferris State penalty box there. 13:44 to go in the second. We'll have the draw coming up to the left, I think, here of Giesbrecht in the Ferris State zone. That's where it should be. Do we have too many men on Ferris State?
Oh, I don't know.
Referee was counting the Ferris State players. This was after the whistle blew. I wonder if a little personnel issue or something going on. I don't think there's going to be a penalty. Maybe the Bulldogs just had too many guys out. So they'll put 5 on the ice. 13:44 to go in the second. And the draw to the left here of Giesbrecht. Feature Blake Messenberg up against the Bulldogs. Connor McGrath. Ferris State wins the draw to the near corner of their own zone. Wormed around the boards there off the stick of Luke Farthing. This will go all the way down the sheet for an icy call on Ferris. 13:35 to go in period number 2. Just a rim around there, pretty hard. Nobody touched it. Around the glass, up the far side for the icing call. And the draw to the right of Giesbrecht.
Just weren't quite ready for that media timeout to end, I guess.
Yeah.
Need a few more seconds for a breather.
Right. RedHawks get the Red Savage line out there. Kind of a tie-up on the draw. Far corner goes the puck. Ryan Savage is on it for Miami. Ferris State works it out of the zone. Pass up the near wing. Dempsey picked it off and will flip this one 5 rows deep into the near side of the Ferris State zone from center ice, trying to dump it in. And get the face-off right here at center ice.
Dempsey having a little bit of a rough game so far. Had a really, really bad turnover back in the first period.
Yep.
Probably the worst one I've seen of this season for the RedHawks. And you can kind of tell that he's just gripping the stick a little too tight out there in his second ever collegiate game. And especially after they benched his former teammate Michael Feenstra over him for this one. So maybe trying to show something.
I'd be doing the same thing.
I sure would.
Ferris State trying to get it out the near wing. The puck turned over. Red Savage right in front of the net. The backhand play, and he tried to go to the forehand, and it slipped off his stick. Right in the crease, and he had the goaltender Giesbrecht beat too. Red Savage with the puck again. Off it's his own far half wall. RedHawks work here. Left point Dempsey. To the right point Clement. Walks down to the half wall. Center blue line. Dempsey trying to poke it forward. A bad pass. They get stolen away by Schleppy. Plays it ahead into the RedHawks zone near corner. Clement is back to grab it. Dempsey had it pickpocketed. Here's Picorni. Near corner, trying to work it up toward the line. Went past Schulteis. On a pass to his right, all the way down into the Ferris State zone. Full 5-man change for Miami with 12:28 to go in the second. RedHawks get to the forecheck. Get it turned over. Cassetti. Far circle offensive zone. The puck came off his stick. Goes over to grab it and rims it around the boards in behind the Bulldog net. Barbolini is here in the far corner. Squeezed up in the board battle with Ivano. You get Venuto on it for Ferris State. Tukovac in there as well. Venuto steals the puck away for the Bulldogs. Into the near corner he'll come. Up there for Galt. The backhand played in the middle of the ice. Into center. Donato get kind of stolen away there in the near corner of the Ferris State zone. Bulldogs worked it up. Nardicia with it. Far side pass to Slick. The puck contacted in the crease. And Pearson's got it under his left knee to cause the stoppage here. The puck just kind of went all the way down the ice. Ferris State could forecheck. Worked it in on net. And Ludwig Pearson makes a good stop with 11:49 to go in period number 2.
What do you think, Patrick? Have they been playing a complete, consistent game so far through nearly 30?
I think so.
I agree.
All things considered.
Still a lot of hockey left to be played. I think you're right, though.
Much better than last night, that's for sure, in terms of the energy. Not quite to the halfway point of this game yet. 11:49 to go in period number 2. American to draw for Ferris State. He'll go up against number 11 in white. That is William Helene. Left circle, the Miami zone. 18-13 the shots. Ferris State leads that category. Farthing plays it in behind the Ferris State net. Bulldog offensive zone win. Left point, a shot came in. Slick, the quick snapper. Pearson got a glove on it to the far corner. RedHawks lifted out at the far wing into the Ferris State zone. Pletzky did that. Kind of chipped it forward, went all the way down the sheet for the icing call here up the far side for Miami. And on the drop back, looks like to the right of Pearson with 11:34 to go in the second.
Well, we just saw Giallo take a nice sprint down the ice after that puck, and wow, he can really skate. Probably comes in as one of the fastest guys on this team, just from what judging from what I just saw.
He is quick. Clean one back, Merrick Tulik, top of the near circle. Quick rip, Pearson the left pad, save to the far half wall. Another shot sent over the net off the stick of McLaren. Deflect its way back to center ice. Ferris State works it up the near wing, dumped in by Dirks. Near corner, Helene first to it for Miami, works his way up the near side of his own zone. Feeds it back to the neutral zone. Giallo gets it in over the Bulldog line on the right wing. Pletzky near half wall, couldn't hold on to the puck, kind of stolen away there by Rod, who sends it all the way down the ice. Another icing call against Ferris State this time. And a good 4 or 5 icings here, it seems like, in the last 2 minutes. 11:05 to go in the second. Draw to Giesbrecht's right coming up.
Maybe they're trying to slow the RedHawks down.
Yep.
Lull them into a little stupor.
I don't know. Bob Daniels in his 31st season in college hockey. He's got a lot of tricks up his sleeve. And I was reminded, too, he was a graduate assistant coach at Miami.
Oh, really?
One time ago in the 80s.
It's crazy in all sports, the Miami coaching connections.
Right point, Clement with it for Miami in the offensive zone win. Playing it down behind the Ferris State net. Got a penalty coming up on Miami. Silver made a pretty hard hit almost from behind there on McLaren. Goes to the far corner. Ferris State still with possession. They're going to break it out of their own zone. McLaren, rink wide feed to the left side for Merrick. This is going to come in on Pearson indirectly off the boards. The pass went in front of Merrick. And with 10:41 to go in the second period, I think Silver's going to go here for roughing. No boarding, they say. He was tied up down low with Brendan McLaren, and Silver kind of gave him a little shove from behind. McLaren tumbled over. You got to call something like that when McLaren in a defenseless position. And Ferris State back to the man advantage.
Yeah, to add insult to injury, Brian Silver was kind of tied up with McLaren there. McLaren got up and sent Silver flying. He landed right on his butt. Playing hockey, landed on my butt a few times. Definitely not a good feeling. You'll be feeling that the rest of the week for sure.
Yep. So a power play for Ferris State. They're 0 for 3 here tonight. RedHawks break it out of the zone, and they're going to work it up to the far wing, dump it in near corner of the Ferris State end as Fletcher raced it up to the center ice red line to do that. Far corner goes the puck in the Ferris State zone, picked up by Schleppy to the near half wall for Picorni. Ferris State, little trouble getting out of the zone here. Red Savage and PJ Fletcher. Good PK forecheck here for Miami. Finally, Ferris works up the near wing. Here comes Picorni through center ice over the Red Hawk line. Left wing opens up, centers it over. A shot by Schleppy, blocked down by Drasner. He's shaken up. Puck goes over to the far half wall. Robbie gets up. He's fine in front of the net. Ferris State with a puck. Center point Farthing gets a feed left point. Walks it top of the near circle. Skates to the high slot. Fires a wrister in. Rebound. They score. It was finished off by Picorni in front of Pearson. And he got all kinds of pushing and shoving after the play. All kinds of pushing and shoving. Drasner's getting into it with Picorni in front of the net. He had Red Savage tied up there, giving a face wash to McLaren. PJ Fletcher wants some of McGrath. And Donato is saying some words to Farthing. This is what happens when you play hockey for 4 periods in a row, plus an overtime and a shootout. Ferris State, though, gets the goal to cut the lead to 2-1 on the power play. Really good shot came in from the center point, and it was finished off by Picorni in front. Got a beautiful rebound as a screen of Pearson right in front of the blue paint. Shot came off Ludwig's left pad. Picorni the backhand shovel into the cage. But we will get a review. I'm actually seeing now. Referee's talking to Chris Bird. I think we got a penalty. Never mind. They're going to call penalties with the extracurricular stuff after the play. I don't really know what started that. Maybe the RedHawks a little mad about Picorni's behavior in front of Pearson. And you just had all of a sudden, it really wasn't one event that started it. Just all of a sudden, everybody started getting involved in the melee.
And it escalated pretty quickly,
it did.
too. They were,
right.
It almost looked like they were going to yank the gloves off and really go at it.
We're going to review the goal, I think. They just said the previous play is under review. But they never specified whether the review is about the goal or to see who got penalties on the shoving.
Well, Patrick, maybe what started that ruckus was actually an egregious goaltender interference call. Maybe Miami will catch a break there. It'd be nice.
I think they are looking at the goal here based on what we're seeing on the monitor. The referee's looking at below us in the penalty box. And Picorni was camped out in front. Just an old-fashioned rebound goal. That's all it was. The shot came in from the center of the blue line by Luke Farthing, and then Picorni picked up the rebound off the left pad of Pearson and just buried it with a backhand, but I don't really know what was going on before the shot came in. So we get to look here. They're going to review for an offside, we're actually told. So nothing about the rough stuff after, nothing about goaltender interference, whether or not it was offside. Chris Bergeron was talking to the referees. I think he was challenging the play maybe. They never said so, but he was asking if they were going to review it or not. They did end up reviewing it, and we'll get our call here. There is a penalty on the play to Red Savage in the Miami penalty box. So I guess the goal counts. They say Ferris State gets the initial minor for roughing, which means Miami probably going to be on the power play here, I'm guessing, as Picorni comes over to the box for Ferris. He got Red Savage in there for Miami. And the face-off at center ice after the goal. They have a penalty up on the board. Ferris State is going to be short-handed here for 2 minutes as Picorni gets the roughing minor. He's the one that scored the goal, so Miami on a power play after the lead cut to 2-1 in favor of the RedHawks. Ferris State goal scored by Picorni, Luke Farthing, and Brendan McLaren add assists on the tally, 10-16 into the period.
Cargiello taking Red Savage's normal spot in the first power play here. Interesting.
Yep. So the RedHawks will try to grow the lead more. Looking to get it over into the Bulldog zone on the right wing. They can't. Kind of shut down there. A lot of bodies in the area. The RedHawks finally get it over the line left wing, but Barbolini was stolen away, and the Bulldogs clear it to the near corner of the RedHawks zone. Pearson sticks it back to the corner. Came in on the net. Goes behind the cage. Ryquist will calm it down. 1:20 to go on the power play. You got 9:02 left in the second, just past the halfway mark of the game. Ryquist dumps it in over the Bulldog line left wing to the far corner. He'll crash in there with even O. Picked up by Barbolini. Gets it to the left point here. Back to the right point for Fletcher. Center blue line is Ryquist. Over on the far wing with a puck is Caraggiello. Back for Ryquist, center blue line. He'll fire his shot in. That was deflected by Ryan Savage to the far corner. Loose puck battle for it, far half wall. 2 against 2. Little play, squirts out. Barbolini picks it up to the near corner. Fletcher here on the right wing. Center blue line, Ryquist fires a shot, immediately blocked down there by Venuto, and here comes Ferris State. Venuto over the RedHawk line, right wing with a shot, just wide right of Pearson's net. Goes to the left point for Ron, so fired in, into the breadbasket of Pearson. He's going to play it. Nobody in front for Ferris State. Fletcher's going to take it through the far circle for Miami out of the zone with 24 to go on the power play. Moulton will rush it up the ice over the Bulldog line here on the left wing. Left wing pass to Cassetti, back for Moulton in the far corner. Rimmed around the boards to the right point for Helene. Center blue, or near half wall rather, Dukovac to the center blue line. He'll go for Moulton. Top of the near circle, Helene winds up the one-timer. Good save made by the breadbasket of Giesbrecht as he slid over to make the stop. 5 seconds remain in the power play for Miami. There's 7:49 to go in the second period of the game. The draw coming up to the left of Giesbrecht. Puck power play that is 0 for 1 in the afternoon. Clean one on the face-off near circle. Moulton, a shot, high slot, rebound, they score! Joey Cassetti finished it off. The loose puck in front. He picked it up with a forehand and fired a wrister over the glove side of Giesbrecht. And with 7:45 to go in the second and 1 second to go in the power play, the RedHawks take a 3-1 lead on the second goal of the year from Cassetti.
Nice to get that first power play goal of the season off your back if you're the RedHawks.
Yep. So Miami power play that's now 1 for 6 to start the year. Clean shot came in for Moulton. It was a rebound after the wrister off the blocker of the goaltender Giesbrecht, and Cassetti right in front there to wrist it over his shoulder into the cage. So the RedHawks back in the offensive zone. Clement ripped a slap shot from the right point into the breadbasket of Giesbrecht after Silver fed him from the near half wall, and we get the stoppage here with 7:27 to go in period number 2. 3-1 Miami over Ferris State. We're back in just a moment. Miami Hockey on Red Hawk Radio. .27 to go, second period, 3-1 Miami over Ferris State. The power play goal scored by Joey Cassetti, his second of the year. Dylan Moulton, Max Dukovac, and the assist for Miami. The Redhawks take a 3-1 lead. That goal coming 12:15 into the middle period. Patrick Geshan, Jack Schmelzinger back with you high above the ice. Steve Cady Arena, draw to the left of Giesbrecht out of our timeout. Ferris State wins it, works it up the far wing, back to center ice. Picked up in the circle here by Dempsey. He'll clear this one into the Ferris State zone to the far corner, where it's picked up there by Schulteis. Redhawks drawing forecheck, trying to work it below the goal line in their offensive zone. Clement able to do so, kept it in at the near half wall. Olmstead feeds Clement over to the left point. Dempsey shoots it in. Nice pad save there and a big rebound. That was cleared away by Ferris State off the left leg of Giesbrecht. Bulldogs working in near corner of the Miami zone, trying to get some offense going here. They're trailing Miami 3-1, 6:47 to go in the second period. Swartz out back to center. Schulteis through the center circle, moves it forward. Farthing dumps it into the far corner of the Red Hawk zone. Clement rims it around the boards near wing. Silver chips it out all the way down the ice. Pletzky will beat out the icing here in the near corner of the Red Hawk offensive end. One-on-one battle between Ivano and Pletzky. Farthing joins the party as well. Helene, though, comes in, cleans it up. A shot from the far circle by Caragiallo was saved there by the blocker of the goaltender Giesbrecht. Puck far corner. Pletzky plays it to the near wing for Helene. Near half wall, feeds the right point. Murray shoots it in. Little wrister from the blue line into the breadbasket, and Giesbrecht will hold on with 6:09 to go in the second period. Caragiallo, I gotta learn that.
Well, that last one, I was going to say, I didn't want to interrupt you, though, but I thought that last one was very good.
Yes. Okay.
You had it figured out on
Thank
that
you.
last one, it seemed like.
All right.
Not that I should really be the litmus test, because I don't know it either, but.
We'll get a face-off warning here to Ferris State on the draw to the left of Giesbrecht. Red Savage going to take it with Picorni. And it's a clean win back to Ryan Savage, who rips it from the far hash mark to the near circle over the net. Puck off the glass, back to center, and is sent in on Pearson's net from the right wing of center ice by Schleppe. Ludwig gloves it down, gives it to the Redhawks, cleared down the ice by Murray. And McLaren with it here behind his own net for Ferris State. This is near wing. Bronze plays it up the near wing boards. Dirks kind of stuck it forward. You got a play here for Red Savage for Miami, trying to bulldog his way over the line, and it was an offside on Miami as Ryan, I think, kind of jumped over the blue line there just ahead of the play. 5:43 to go in the second. Neutralized track coming up on the Bulldog left wing closest to the Ferris blue line. The light crowd on hand, much different than what we saw last night. but for a Sunday game, compared to some of the crowds we've had here for those in the past, this one's fairly decent. If you're just comparing those.
It's not a bad atmosphere either.
No. Puck here in the near corner of the Miami offensive zone. You get Cady with it for the RedHawks. Plays it back behind the Ferris net. Dukovac could not get the pass. To look near half wall of the Ferris State zone. This one worked out back to center. Little battle for it from the RedHawk penalty box. Barbolini wins it. Spins it over the Bulldog line to the near wing. In the offensive zone for Miami. Cady and Nardicchio work for it there. You got Barbolini playing it back. Here comes Merrick, skates it up to the near wing. Tulik through center ice, over the RedHawk line left wing. The play kind of broken up by Ryquist, who's going to play this one through center on the near side. Barbolini feeds it middle. Dukovac there, let it go past him. Merrick will grab it for Ferris State. Dump it into the RedHawk zone. Here comes Nardicchio. Gave it up for Barbolini, coming over the Bulldog line left wing. The play broken up, a loose puck popped off his stick. To the near wing of center ice, but Corny grabbed it, even over the RedHawk line left wing, shoots it in from the near circle, and a really good glove save by Pearson to make the stop with 4:40 left on a point-blank chance in the second period. 3-1 Miami over Ferris State. Back in a moment. This is Miami Hockey on RedHawk Radio. 4:40 left in period number 2. Miami 3, Ferris State 1. Shot count in favor of the Bulldogs, 25-19. Patrick Geshan, Jack Schmelzinger back with the air high above the ice. Steve Cady Arena, draw to the right of Pearson coming up. And can Miami close out the second period strongly? This is kind of the dog days of the game when things start to fall apart.
Yeah, right. And I think that's probably a good strategy for Miami, kind of like what you said, just cut this game into chunks. Make sure you play hard the next 4 minutes and 40 seconds and then regroup.
So Dempsey picks it up for Miami behind the zone net. RedHawk face-off win in their own zone. All the way down it goes. Cooper with it in the Ferris zone up at Corny. Rink wide feed went off the stick of Evano. Picked up there by Olmstead. The puck kind of bounced behind him as he went into the zone offside. Then a late hit was laid on Olmstead on the far half wall by a Ferris State player. Jack Olmstead going to get up okay. You had... I don't know who made that hit. The linesman blocking my view there for Ferris State. You had a little bit of extracurricular after, but it was pretty calm. RedHawk bench wants a penalty. It was Evano who laid the hit. Olmstead came over the line offside. The puck skipped behind him. And then right as the whistle blew, you had the hit laid by Evano. Kind of dangerous against the boards. Olmstead appears all right. I can see why there's no call there.
Yeah, I would say that's probably one that could have gone either way.
The timing just sucked. So Dielstra works it back for Ferris State on the face-off win. Rons plays it up to the near wing. And he goes back into the Ferris zone, hopped off the RedHawk skate of Helene on a bad pass. Farthing dishes to the near corner. Bulldogs work it up the left wing. Dielstra plays it in over Pearson's net on a tip that came from a feed by Dirks. Works out back to center by Miami. Pletzky near wing to Caragiallo. Over the Bulldog line on the near wing. Plays it back to the right point. Clement shoots it in. Little flip from the top of the near circle. And a glove save made by Giesbrecht, who squeezes with 3:55 to go in period number 2.
Patrick, I'm kind of surprised that Ferris State is still out shooting Miami in this one, 25-20. At least for me, it really doesn't feel like they've had more shots on goal. And maybe it is because Miami had so many shots off target early in the game.
Miami has 41 shot attempts to Ferris State's 36. So Miami has more shot attempts, but Ferris has hit the net 5 more times than Miami.
Miami's only hit the net on half their attempts.
Yeah. So one flipped out of play near side as Ferris State trying to clear the zone. It was McLaren there who went a little over the glass, trying to get it up the left wing. Draw will stay in the Ferris State zone to the left of Giesbrecht. 3:47 to go in the second. Everybody's okay down there. The puck went about 6 rows deep in the stands.
A lot of souvenirs today, though.
Yeah. Everybody's trying to adjust maybe to just getting back on the ice. Clean win Miami, the offensive zone. Donato sent a shot toward the net from the right point. It was on the ice. Cover made there by Giesbrecht after a small rebound. Ryan Savage is in there. Maybe got a piece of that. Giesbrecht shut him down with the right pad. And the draw back to the left of the Ferris netminder here with 3:43 to go in the second. You're going to have Red Savage in this draw against number 23 in red. That's Venuto, or maroon. It's like exactly between red and maroon.
There's got to be a name for it. There's a million different words for different shades of red, I feel like, but I can't think of what it would be.
It's not my expertise area. RedHawks in the offensive zone. Center point, Fletcher. Goes to the right point now with the skates. Dishes to the near corner. Red Savage on it here. And a penalty coming up. It was called behind the play. There was contact near the right point area of Miami's offensive zone. I think they got Ferris State. McLaren might be going here for a high stick. Maybe got tied up there with Fletcher. And the high stick came up away from the puck. And Miami to the power play here with 3:27 to go in the second. McLaren will sit for 2 on the high stick. He didn't get tied up with Fletcher there on the right point after PJ dished it down to the near corner. And the stick went up high on Fletcher. Kind of a dangerous play in the head area. So the draw to the right of Giesbrecht. In the far circle, Ferris State wins the faceoff. Will work it all the way down the ice up the far wing as Ivano did that. So 3:15 to go in the second. The RedHawks regroup in their own zone with 15 seconds gone by in the power play. Miami power play that is 1 for 2 on the evening. Red Savage with it over the Bulldog line here in the right wing to Ryan Savage right point. Hampus Rydquist with it center blue line. Over on the left point for Red Savage. Back for Rydquist center blue line. Top of the near circle, Fletcher. Right in the middle of the slot. Ryan Savage trying to shoot it. I think that went off a leg. And the puck bounced off the glass all the way down the ice. Miami will regroup here in their own zone with changes going on both sides. 1:17 left to power play for Miami. Rydquist over the Bulldog line left wing. Feeds it over for Barbolini left point. To the half wall here for Rydquist. Sends it far circle, Ryan Savage. Near circle, a little play on the Rick wide feed, and Barbolini just 2 inches wide right of the post from a goal on the one-timer. Near circle, Fletcher plays it in. Barbolini to the tip, rebound in front. That puck stayed out. It was a glove save made by Giesbrecht on his left side. He was laying in the blue paint and kept it out with his glove on. A couple of Barbolini whacks at it there in the crease, and it's cleared by Ferris State.
Barbolini could have about 4 goals today. He's really been all over the ice, especially in front of that net.
Get that 2 right there.
Yeah, and a really nice feed from Fletcher, too.
Rydquist trying to go with a breakaway pass to Cassetti. Said he tipped it, but it went wide left to Ferris State net. He couldn't catch it. Right out to the offensive zone. Dukovac, very high slot. This is over on the left point. Curgiallo for Moulton, high slot near circle. Helene winds up for a bomb that went off the leg and straight up in the air. Cooper's leg deflected that. RedHawks can't get the loose puck after the deflection. And Ferris State clears it up the near wing off the stick of Ben Schulteis. 4 seconds to go in the Miami power play. It's going to wrap up here. So we're back to 5-on-5, 1:24 to go in the second, and Miami in their own zone having some trouble getting it out. It was picked off there by Picorni. Dishes to the near wing. Here comes Dukovac in the near corner for the RedHawks. Plays this one up into the near side of the zone. Slick will lift this one out here. And behind the RedHawk net, Dylan Moulton on it for Miami. Turned it over, gave it right to the stick of Schleppe, who takes the puck to the far circle with a minute to go in the second period. RedHawks with it out of their own zone, trying to break out. Helene could not do so there. Clean steal by Picorni. Ferris State with a chance. Right point Farthing walks it in, fires a shot for the far corner. Pearson the save. He can't corral the rebound off his chest. Dukovac picks it up, muscles the puck up the near wing, gets it out back to neutral zone. Where Cassetti's going to play it softly over the Bulldog line, right wing on a dump in, and a much needed 5-man Miami change. Picorni with it through center. Rink wide feed, batted down by the glove of Clement, gets it into the far corner here in the Ferris State zone. Bulldogs working here as Schleppe plays it far half wall with 20 seconds to go in the period. Rink wide feed behind the net the puck will go. It's an icing, actually. Dirks tried to stuff down the wrist shot, kind of passed there from the far side at the left wing of the Red Hawk blue line. It went to the right of his body and then went behind the net. They whistle Ferris State for the icing. And the draw to the right of Giesbrecht, 16.2 seconds to go in the second. Red Savage will go against Picorni. Top line on top line to end the second period. Tied up on the face-off. The puck was under Ryan Savage, who fell over. Center blue line, Dempsey, a quick shot. Nice left pad save was made there by the netminder Giesbrecht. Loose puck to the near corner, 2 seconds to go in the period. A little battle for it. Red Savage ends up with it. Right at the buzzer, though, he ran out of time. Couldn't really have a chance to make a shot. And you got Ryan Savage exchanging some words in the near corner at the end of the period with Ferris State's big defenseman in Matt Slick. Linesman will break that up. Slick kind of laid a hit on Ryan Savage in the corner late in the battle the two kind of got into there. And the teams will head to the locker room after 40 minutes with Miami up 3-1 on Ferris State. First time, I think, in an intermission all weekend where we do not have a carryover penalty.
Yes. Good job, Miami.
So the RedHawks 2-goal lead, and right now just a matter of closing this one out.
Yeah, that's right, and it'll be interesting to see Miami with the 2-goal lead. A lot of people say that that is the most dangerous lead in hockey, as Luke was saying in the last intermission. And the reason for that might be because you kind of take your foot off the gas when you have a 2-goal lead and you do it prematurely, because that's never enough to be safe. Just got to hope Miami comes out with their foot down on the gas pedal, pedal to the metal here to start the third period in about 15 minutes.
That's what it's going to take. We'll see if this team can protect the lead for the first time this season as the second intermission gets underway here from Steve Cady Arena in Game 2 of the series. 3-1 Miami leads it. Time for the intermission report. Here is Luke West Poley.
Thank you, Patrick. Miami leading 3-1. Pair of goals, still the lead. It was restored for Miami about midway through the second period. Miami on top by a pair, heading into the third period of play, final regulation period of this weekend here on this Sunday afternoon. Take a look at some of our stats from the first two periods of play with Miami on top 3-1. Ferris out shooting the RedHawks 26-23 as the guys talked about. 48 shot attempts for Miami, 25 off target, whereas 37 for the Bulldogs with only 11 that did not find their way on net. Ferris 1 for 4 on the power play today. Miami 1 for 3. No carryover penalties. We'll finally get the start of period 5-on-5 in this series. Took it all the way to the final period of play in the series for that to happen. Miami killed off a huge 5-minute major in that period as the penalty to William Halid did not produce anything offensively for the Bulldogs, but they would find the scoreboard later on. Take a look at our scoring recap from the opening first two periods of play. Things got started for the RedHawks, 3:38 into the first, as Red Savage would pass off to Hampus Reichquist, and then on the back door he found Jack Olmstead, who put Miami out in front 1-0. That came once again 3:38 into period number 1. And the second goal of the game for the RedHawks came a little over 8 minutes later, as once again Hampus Reichquist was doing it all behind the net. He would find Matthew Barbolini on the back door, and Miami would take a 2-0 lead into the first intermission. Took about halfway through the second period to get a goal, and it came on the Ferris State side on the power play as Stepan Picorni down the back of the net on the man advantage for the Bulldogs to make it 2-1, but Miami would respond just under 2 minutes later. Minute 59 past it, Joey Cassetti would score a goal for Miami, the first power play tally of the season for the RedHawks to restore the lead at 2. Take a look around college hockey, some other afternoon games going on. Union leading Army 1-0 after one period of play. Ohio State on top of Mercyhurst 2-0 after the first period from Erie. UConn looking for the sweep against Vermont, 0-0 at the end of the first. Lots more games going on later tonight on this Sunday evening in college hockey. Stay with us on the other side of the break. Jack Schmelzinger back with us. We will break down the opening 40 minutes of play, look ahead to the final 20. Miami leads 3-1 heading into the third period. This is the Red Hawk Radio Intermission Report. Stay with us. Second intermission here from Cady Arena. Miami on top of Ferris State 3-1. Our score here on this Sunday afternoon. Thanks for tuning in and spending your Sunday with us as Miami closes out this series here on opening weekend. RedHawks on top 3-1 after the teams traded goals in period number 2. One from Ferris State rather, that came 10-16 in. Miami would respond a couple of minutes later to leave us at the place where we are now with it at 3-1. Goal scorers for Miami: Jack Olmstead, Matthew Barbolini, and Joey Cassetti. For Jack Olmstead and the RedHawks, that is his first goal of the year. Barbolini and Cassetti both picking up their second. Matthew Barbolini, the second line left winger tonight out of Williamsville, New York, the junior who led the RedHawks in goals scored a year ago with 10. Did not have a goal until November last year, but has gotten off to a very hot start, you could say, with a pair of goals already here on opening weekend. On the Ferris State side of things, their goal comes from Stepan Pokorny, the native of Kolin, Czech Republic. Junior forward, had an assist in the game last night, picks up his first goal of the season as Ferris State heads into the locker room down a pair. Bulldogs out shooting the RedHawks by a 26-23 margin going into the final period of play, something that they did not do last night. It was a good job by the RedHawks to limit the shots in the game yesterday for Ferris State. Miami with only 6 times last season of the 36 games where they outshot their opponent, and they did that by a heavy margin yesterday. RedHawks trailing in the category though tonight by 3 heading into the final period of play. For Ferris State, looking to pick up their first win of the season in regulation, as is Miami, after the win in the shootout yesterday for the Bulldogs that did not count towards anything NCAA-wise. But Ferris State's got some work to do, down a pair here going into the final period in a day that has lacked a little bit of energy on the Ferris side. They did score that goal that came on the power play. It's been the special teams that have kind of done it for Ferris throughout both nights, as 2 of their 3 goals have come on the power play so far in this series. Looking ahead for both of these teams, for Miami, they will hit the road next weekend for their first road series of the year. Friday, Saturday set against the RedHawks from UMass Lowell, as that will be a 7:15 p.m. start on Friday, 6:05 start on Saturday between the RedHawks and RiverHawks. Miami will not be back at home, though, for quite a while. The final weekend in October, October 28th and 29th, as they will host the Pioneers from Denver, defending national champions and #1 team in the country. That'll be a series to keep an eye on and a real measuring stick for the RedHawks. Next weekend, it'll be 2 home games against 2 different opponents for the Ferris State Bulldogs, as first they will host in-state rival Michigan Tech, and in-conference rival as well, in a 7:07 Eastern time start. And on Saturday, they will face off against the NCHC opponent in Western Michigan, second opponent from the National Collegiate Conference that will battle with Ferris State. Western Michigan coming off an upset loss yesterday against an Alaska Anchorage team that is back into college hockey after taking a hiatus due to lack of funds. The Seawolves beat them yesterday. Those two will meet again later tonight as the Broncos look to go for the series split and head back to Kalamazoo with a 1-1 record before playing Ferris State next weekend. Both these teams also have Canisius on the schedule. For Miami, they will be off after the UMass Lowell series, and Ferris State will play Canisius that weekend on October 14th and 15th. That will be in Big Rapids. Then the next week, the Golden Griffins will be back home and they will play Miami. And that series, I should say, will be 7 p.m. start Friday, 4 p.m. start on Saturday, and we will carry both the UMass Lowell series and Canisius series here on Red Hawk Radio, so stay tuned for that. Busy weeks coming up for us on the airwaves, and we still got 20 minutes to go on this weekend. Miami on top, 3-1 over the Ferris State Bulldogs with 20 minutes still to play here in this one. Back for the third period, Jack and Patrick will have the call when we return. This has been the Red Hawk Radio intermission. Stay with us for the third period of play.
All right, we're back for period number 3. 3-1 Miami over Ferris State. Patrick Geshan, Jack Schmelzinger back with you high above the ice. Question is, can the RedHawks hold on to the lead here in this third period of play with a draw at center ice to begin the frame? RedHawks move from right to left across your radio in the third period. It is a clean win back for Miami in the draw. Dylan Moulton to the far side here for Hampus Rydquist. Ryan Savage trying to go over the Bulldog line on the right wing. He will. Advance the puck forward to the near corner. Bulldogs pick it up, back out to center ice. Dielstra dishes over. Merrick's on it for Ferris State through the slot, trying to toe drag his way through. And Ryan Savage laid a pretty high hit on him, and that's going to be a penalty coming up on Miami as Merrick is face down on the ice in the far corner of the Ferris State offensive zone. Still yet to get up, and he's moving. You had Merrick come in 1 against 2 into the Red Hawk zone. Ryan Savage came in to lay a hit. You had Red Savage in there as well. I think Red made contact with Merrick first, and then Ryan kind of came in and laid a high hit, laid the left shoulder to the head on Merrick, who then crashed into the end boards. That hit occurred in the far circle of the Miami zone as they get Merrick to his feet. He's going to skate off here on his own power, but does not look very good. Pretty bent over stance. Merrick carrying the puck to the far side of the offensive zone for Ferris State, down in the far circle. Red Savage kind of put a hit on him, trying to knock him away from the puck in the 1 against 2 play, and then Ryan came in and put a shoulder up to his head, and that's what happened. Kind of a dirty looking hit, and they're going to review this here with Ryan Savage sitting in the penalty box to determine what the verdict is going to be. It's just a play, Jack, where you got to keep your arms down, your shoulder down, just lay a hit into him, and that'll do the trick. Ryan Savage just trying to lay the shoulder up toward his head area, and I'm not surprised this is going to be 5 minutes or more.
Yeah, Patrick.
Yeah, right. Sorry, Ryan's leaving the box right now. He's going over to the locker room. Go ahead. major penalty in the game is conduct for head contact to Ryan Savage.
And Patrick, we talked about with the Hampus hit yesterday, and I don't remember who laid the one earlier today. But we talked about how there wasn't any malicious intent, and I don't believe there was any malicious intent there either, but Ryan Savage, that was a little bit gratuitous. It just wasn't really a hockey play. It didn't have anything to do with the puck. It looked like he was just trying to lay a big hit there, and ended up not working out well for him.
That's a good point. It was not a hockey play. That's exactly right. So Ferris State with their second major power play in the game. It'll start with a left wing pass over for slap shot by Luke Farthing, who sends it right into the breadbasket of Pearson, who makes the stop. We are 9 seconds into the Ferris State power play, 19:25 to go in the third. It is a 3-1 RedHawk lead. Ferris State on the power play is 1 for 3 here today. Corney had their power play goal back in the second period. RedHawks cleared the draw to the right of Pearson. Clement got his stick on a loose puck in the circle, and will send it behind the Bulldog net. McLaren over to Farthing to the near wing for Schlepp through center. Scanning it there is going to be McGrath through the slot, trying to send a pass over. Went off his skate to the near half wall. But Corney for McGrath. Center blue line, trying to spin around, get a right point. The puck stolen away, and here comes Red Savage in on a breakaway. He'll shoot and score! Really bad offensive zone puck handling by Ferris State. They mishandled it at the blue line. Red Savage came through to split the defenders, grabbed the loose puck, boost his way up the middle of the ice, and he fired a wrister over the right shoulder of the goaltender at Giesbrecht. A 4-1 Miami lead on the short-handed tally by Red Savage. His first goal of the year.
And that'll really change the momentum around two in this game. If you're Ferris State, it's got to be tough to come back from that.
Yep. 4:12 to go on the power play for Ferris State. Not even a minute gone by yet in the major power play on the Ryan Savage major for the contact to the head call. So the puck here is in the Miami zone. Ryquist banks it around from behind his zone net up the faraway boards into the Ferris State zone as the Red Hawk lead grows to 3 here early in period number 3. Drew Cooper out of his own net for Ferris State, takes it over the Red Hawk line, middle of the ice. This is left wing, Branchaw to Cooper at the far half wall. Back for Branchaw, left point. Near circle with it is Slick. Spins it around to the near corner. On it there is Mitch Dielstra. Dielstra to the center blue line, walks it over far circle, fires a shot. Pearson shouldered it away, went off his shoulder to the glass behind the net, and Donato will send this one up the far side for behind his own cage on the clear for Miami. Up by Farthing here behind the net. This is left wing for McGrath. Near side for Schlepp. In behind the blue line, Ferris State will go. It's going to be played by McLaren, who's going to take it in back of his own net. Feed it over to Luke Farthing, who skates it up through center ice. Farthing over the Red Hawk line on the right wing. Dances through the middle, trying to fire a shot. Went to the near side wide of Pearson's net. Puck goes over to the far half wall. Dempsey closes it with his stick against the boards. Clement in there as well. Pilecki joins the party for Miami. You got 3 Bulldogs in the area too. Behind the net with it is Olin, who won the battle. Could try to clear it, but cannot against Farthing. Puck goes to the far half wall there. Schleppy plays it down low. Grabbed by Picorni in the far corner for Ferris State. Gets it to the left point. McLaren trying to think about it, didn't shoot it. Picorni rather with a shot instead up the left point. And a little wrister there goes off the right shoulder of Pearson, up and out of play. With 16:54 to go in period number 3. There's 2:19 left in the power play here for Ferris State.
Patrick, it's almost kind of funny at this point, going back to last year, Miami, especially when they're up in games kind of late, really, there's just a million ways that they'll find to make life harder on themselves. This 5-minute penalty kill, another example of that.
They didn't get the shorthanded goal off it. Canucks with a clear after the draw. Red Savage over the Bulldog line on the right wing will kind of hit the brakes, walk backward toward the half wall, get it in behind the Ferris State net. Savage was hit a little late there after he got rid of the puck. The arms will stay down. Less than 2 minutes to go on the Ferris State power play. Tulik skates it through the near wing, chips it over the Red Hawk line on the right side, and behind the net, grabbing it there is Pearson, and played by Reichquist all the way around the boards and in behind the net. As Giesbrecht with it here for Ferris State, will let it go there for Drew Cooper. Ferris out of their own zone, 1:32 to go on the power play. Almost 4 minutes gone by in period number 3. Murray to the far corner. Geshan spins around, works it all the way down the ice into the Ferris State zone. Giesbrecht stops it to the left of his net and leaves it there for Farthing. Left wing pass over is McGrath. Skates it over the Red Hawk line on the right wing, and that rush a little broken up. Ferris State enters onside. Here though behind the net, the loose puck by Alex Murray all the way down the ice in behind the Bulldog cage. 1 minute to go in the major power play for Ferris State. Farthing out of his own end. Dishes left wing. McGrath trying to hit a pass to the middle over there for Schleppy. It went off a Red Hawk skate. This is its way back into the Ferris zone. And with it behind his own net, McLaren takes a breath. And he goes to the far corner of the feed over there for Evino. 37 seconds left in the power play for Ferris State. Even over the Red Hawk line on the right wing. Try to go back for McCorney. The pass never connected. Puck ends up back at center. Galt with it here on the near side. Gives it off for McLaren. Skates up to the neutral zone and chips over the Red Hawk blue line on the left wing. Pearson from behind his net plays it. Dempsey, far corner. Dishes backward there for Jack Clement. Behind his own net. Banks it off the high glass all the way down the ice. This will be another good clear for Miami on the PK. 8 seconds to go as the Bulldogs come out of their own zone for what might be the final time of the power play. Here comes Ronz over the Red Hawk line, right wing on a rush. He was stripped clean there by Reichquist coming to the zone. Hampus will clear it all the way down, and Ferris State gets nothing on the major power play here to start the third. Puck in the Red Hawk offensive zone, far half wall. Fletcher plays it up right point. Olmstead off the bench, gets it to the far circle. Stolen away there by Ronz, who will skate this one up the far wing, left side of center ice. Get it to the middle. Venuto had a nice centering feed, but the puck skipped over his stick. The bouncing biscuit the Red Hawks pick up in the neutral zone. Far circle with it, sent ahead by Slick. Venuto puts it in behind the Red Hawk net from the left wing of center ice. Pearson to the far side here. Hampus Reichquist gets it up. Fletcher, backhand pass, went right to Schleppy in the neutral zone. Red Savage works it forward. Here comes Slick in his own net for Ferris State to the near wing for Schulteis. Up the right wing, Dirks played it middle. That one almost picked up by Caragiallo. And here comes Schleppy with a puck for Ferris over the Red Hawk line. Left side, a shot from McCorney, the slapper. Pearson has it somewhere. He had no idea where it was. He was looking behind him, but I think it got lodged in between his left pad and kind of where it meets his thigh. Got stuck in that hole of equipment, and the stoppage will give us immediate timeout with 13:35 to go in period number 3. 4-1 Miami. The shorthanded goal by Red Savage adds the lead to 3, and this is Miami Hockey on Red Hawk Radio. .35 to go, third period of the game. 4-1 Miami over Ferris State. Patrick Geshan, Jack Schmelzinger with you, high above the ice. From Steve Cady Arena, Miami trying to close out the win in game 2 of the series opening, or season opening series. Ferris State wins the offensive zone draw. Schulteis for center blue line, fed it right into Barbolini's leg. It's banked out back to center. Bulldogs corral here, control at center ice. Tulik over the Red Hawk line left wing, got it knocked off his stick. Cady starts a rush up the right wing. Barbolini with it over the Bulldog line, hits the brakes in the circle, and top of the near circle, Dempsey got a pass, but kind of skipped in front of him. Could never really get a shot off there up the left wing. Bulldogs with it through center. Tulik the feed on the Far side for Merrick. It's good to see him back out there after the scary play earlier in the period. The puck went back to center. Dukovac got hit hard there by Cooper. Welcome to D1 hockey.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And this one back behind the RedHawk net. Dempsey's got it for the RedHawks.
Silver just patted Dukovac on the head as he got back on the bench and said the exact same thing, I'm sure.
Carigiallo takes it behind the Ferris net. Center blue line of feed. Donato the shot. Deflected wide. Pletzky trying to clean up the rebound in front after it went off a Ferris player in the slot. The shot there goes into the breadbasket of Giesbrecht. And with 12:37 to go in the third, we got a draw coming to his right in the Ferris zone. RedHawks lead this game 4-1. Dukovac had his head down there in front of the RedHawk bench. Got trucked over by Cooper with a puck in the area.
Yeah, and he's got his head down sitting on the bench now, too, just trying to catch his breath, maybe remember where exactly he is.
Freshman from Aurora, Illinois, actually played BCHL hockey at Langley. It's where a few RedHawks played their junior hockey.
Langley forward of the year last year.
Yep. Puck back out at center ice after the draw in the Ferris State zone. Bulldogs offside coming in over the left wing of the RedHawk blue line. They tagged up. It was a delayed call. Alex Murray with it far half wall Miami zone. Trying to center it over and get deflected off his skate. Ferris State with it through center. Got a penalty coming up here. I believe on Miami. It's going to be a slash. There was a Bulldog trying to get the puck in the center circle. They lost their stick. It slashed out of their hands. That was McGrath as he was skating toward the far side, toward the benches. Trying to pick up a loose puck right near center ice. Carigiallo lit the slash on his hands. He lost his stick, and Ferris to the power play with 12:05 to go in the third. Down 4-1. Bulldog power play 1 for 5 on the evening. Our next one to draw in the far circle, picked up here by Hampus Rydquist, and he'll dump it in to the Ferris State zone from near the center ice area on the left wing. Bulldogs work it out on their own end. They could not convert. In the last power play they had, the 5-minute major power play on the Ryan Savage hit. Slick, right point. Ferris offense his zone to the far circle. With it here is Branchaw walking in. Takes the breaks behind the net. Branchaw plays it forward. Tulik a shot over the net. This one went off the glass and behind the cage. Merrick with it here, far corner for Ferris State. Gets it to the right point. Slick on it, walks it back to the line. Dishes the puck to the near corner. Merrick trying to get the feed. Picked off though by Rydquist. Little battle ensues near circle. Picked up Merrick wide open in front. Ripped a wrist shot just wide left of the net. And the RedHawks send this one out to center on the loose puck from the far half wall. Red Savage, the backhand play to the far corner of the Ferris zone. 1 minute even left in the Bulldog power play. 11 minutes to go in the third. Schleppy over the RedHawk line on the right wing. Dumps this one in around the boards to the far half wall. Cassetti first to it. Loose puck in the circle, but Cornea shot. Nice pad save. Pearson. The rebound picked up by Cassetti. He'll backhand it ahead. And Barbolino will chase this one down into the RedHawk offensive zone in the far corner. McLaren laid a hit on him against the boards. As Barbolini locks it up with his skate against the wall. Farley comes away with it, but he was stolen away by Cassetti. Here comes Cassetti driving in behind the Ferris net. On the puck for Miami, RedHawks make some PK changes. Dempsey got a feed from Cassetti all the way back to neutral ice. Miami with it in their own end in the far circle. Clement will play this one all the way down the ice. And behind the Ferris State net, and McLaren with it here for the Bulldogs. Skating through the far side of the neutral zone for Ferris State is Kanan Galt. Gets it to the far corner as Ferris State. Some late changes arrive to the offensive zone with 1 second to go on the power play. The man advantage over. Here's Nardicio with a shot through the slot area. A little wrister there, went off the leg of Pletzky. Deflected in on Pearson, who makes the cover as it just came in on him on the ice. He makes the stop with the left pad. 9:58 to go in the third, and the RedHawks lead at 4-1. They will jump around at Oxford as we have a media timeout. And this is Miami Hockey on Red Hawk Radio. 9:58 to go, third period of play. 4-1 Miami over Ferris State. Draw to the left of Ludwig Pearson out of the timeout in the RedHawk zone. After Geshan, Jack Schmelzinger back with a high above the ice. Cady Arena. Even on with it to the near half wall. Venuto sends it to the near corner for Ferris State in the offensive end. The puck came off the boards. Messenberg grabbed it for Miami, lifted it all the way down the ice. And waved the icy call as Rons gets it far circle of the Ferris State zone. Worked up to center ice. Venuto picks it up over the RedHawk line, middle of the ice. Skates his way to the net. A shot. Pearson a nice save with the left shoulder. Venuto just kind of slid underneath the defense there and got a little breakaway to the net from the far circle. Puck left point. Rons wrists this one into the far circle. Ardicchia on it for Ferris State. Gets it back over on the far wing. Rons centers it forward. Loose puck in front of the Miami net. Galt trying to get a stick on it. Pletzky stolen away. He'll skate it up the near circle. Trying to spin his way back to the near corner of the Miami zone. Just getting some more room as each team involved in some changes. RedHawks change forwards. Ferris State changes all 5 men. And it's Donato behind the Miami net with it. Red Savage to the far wing. On it here is Robbie Drasner. Lifts this one into the far corner of the Ferris State zone with 8:52 to go in the third period. Miami up 4-1. Zulik skates it over the right wing into the RedHawk zone. Rink wide feed that went to nobody to the left half wall. Clement knocks over Merrick behind the RedHawk net. No call in the play as a 3-on-2 battle ensues. RedHawks with the advantage. Ferris State trying to work it free. They're going to win it actually as a good steal away by Slick. Skates it away to the far side. Merrick locked up against the boards by Dempsey, trying to get a pass. Loose puck in the far circle, Miami zone. Clement off the glass. Hits it all the way down the ice as the RedHawks change all 5 men. Ferris State from their own end. Tulik got a feed right wing of the RedHawk line. Gets it in behind the Miami net. Dempsey picks it up. Left wing feed. Barbolini gets out of the zone. It's just backward for Zane Dempsey. Gets to the red line center ice. Dumps it in far corner of the Ferris State end. Schulteis behind his net trying to play the puck. Stolen away by Cassetti. He's going to get it to the right point. Moulton in the offensive zone. Center blue line. Shoots it in. Nice right pad save there. And a bouncing puck by Galbrecht. And it comes back into the Miami zone. Fed forward. Barbolini over the Bulldog line here on the left wing. Hits the brakes on the near half wall. And this puck squirts its way out up the right wing. Dirks with it over the RedHawk line for Ferris State. Comes into the near corner. Centers it in front. And Schleppy there sends it 5 feet wide left to the net on a one-time chance in front. Schulteis for Picorni in front of the penalty boxes. Rink wide goes back to his own zone. Farthing feeds it ahead. Schleppy over the RedHawk line left wing. Helene lays a nice hit on him to separate him from the puck. Holtz into the near corner. Here comes Ryquist. Skates up the ice for Miami. Banks it off the boards. Pletzky chips it over the Bulldog line on the left wing. Here's Helene trying to toe drag it. Could not. In the near circle. Picorni with it for Ferris State. He'll circle his way back in his own end. Feed it over on the far wing. And with it here is Rods for Ferris State. Gets it to the center ice red line left wing. Dumps it in on Pearson, who will deflect it to the far corner to Hampus Ryquist. Ryquist works it out back to center. Ferris State dumps it into the far corner. And is Drasner back to get it for Miami behind his own net. Ryquist feeds it through center. Went over Pletzky's stick. Branchaw will send this one into the near corner of the Miami zone. Robbie Drasner's on it. Gets over the far corner for Alex Murray. Picked up here by Caragiallo. Lifts it out through center all the way back to the Ferris zone. That'll be an icing on Miami as Caragiallo had no options down the ice. And the draw will come back into the Miami zone here. Looks like to the right side of Pearson with 6:28 to go in period number 3.
Patrick coming down to the wire in this one so far with 6 minutes left. It kind of does seem like Miami's putting together a pretty complete game.
Yep.
We really have not seen them slow down at all.
Timeout called by Miami on the icing. A pretty extended shift. Chris Bergeron doesn't want to give any momentum to Ferris State at this point in the game, to your point. With 6:28 to go in the third, Ferris State is out shooting Miami 31-28 in this game. There was last season, well, yesterday, as we go back to the beginning, the RedHawks outshot Ferris State 35-21. The RedHawks were only outshot their opponent in 6 of 36 games last season. So in 30 of the 36 games last year, the RedHawks were outshot. And kind of theme sort of continues, I guess, into this year.
Yeah, it would be kind of nice if Miami could pepper Giesbrecht with a couple more shots before this one's over and maybe, bank 2 of those games where they outshoot their opponent.
And we'll see, but in the NCHC, when that starts, it would be nice for you to outshoot your opponents against the top goaltenders in the nation, the top defenders in the nation, and against really potent offenses.
Yeah. Yeah, it was not fun. It felt like it was 2-1 just about every game in the opponent's favor during NCHC play.
Timeout over with. Geshan and his line out there for Miami. That includes Dukovac and Barbolini. Draw on the far circle. RedHawks zone, won by Ferris State. Nardicia feeds to the line. Slick tried to backhand it in, couldn't get it deep. RedHawks break it out. Barbolini up the left wing over the Bulldog line. Top of the far circle. Drasner got a feed. Trying to go up against Slick. Stolen away. Nardicia. It turned over to Drasner and will poke this one to the far corner in the Ferris State zone. Slick is on it. For Evano, banks it around the boards to the far half wall. Nardici on it, 2-on-2 the other way. Nardici over the RedHawk line, left wing, trying to center it over. Drasner broke up the play. Puck trickles its way in behind the RedHawk net. Barbolini there to pick it up on the near post. Feeds it ahead. Here comes Cassetti. Gets the center ice red line, left wing to dump it in. I think just to dump it in and chase game now for Miami. Really all the RedHawks are doing. Back at center ice, Dempsey puts it into the Ferris State zone. Schulteis to the far circle. With it here is Cooper. Fed it to the near wing. Merrick chips it over the RedHawk line. Playing the puck in the near half wall for Ferris State is Dielstra. Gets stolen away from him. Back out towards center. And you got Cooper on it now for the Bulldogs. Near circle, Schulteis feeds it up the right wing. It's stopped there by Tulik. Will backhand this one in the near corner of the Miami zone. In behind the RedHawk net goes the puck. Silver to the near corner here for Jack Clement. Spins this one all the way down the ice. Messenberg there trying to get the pass. He could not. I think it was tipped by Rons of Ferris State on its way in. Goes in behind the Bulldog net here. 2-on-2 battle. Pletzky in there for Miami trying to dig it free. It's Ferris who wins it. Farley comes out to the right wing. He'll feed Tulik over the RedHawk line. Trying to center a pass over. Went off his stick. And Messenberg plays it ahead into the Bulldog zone softly for Miami. Little change for the RedHawks. Farthing had a feed picked up by Red Savage in the center ice area. Red will dump this one into the Ferris zone. Rods picks it up, takes to the far corner. Off the high glass back to center. Puck loose to the center circle. Bulldogs grab it. Schleppy over the RedHawk line right wing. Works it over to the far circle. Played by Picorni. They'll get to the center ice red line, or the center of the Ferris State blue line. Dish it back for Evano on the right point. Far circle with it. A shot came in from Slick. After he got a feed over there, he shot it into a stick up and out of play. And he'll get a immediate timeout with 4:13 remaining in the third period of play. Miami 4, Ferris State 1. And this is Miami Hockey on Red Hawk Radio. .4:13 to go in the third period. 4-1 Miami over Ferris State. After you guys are Jack Schmelzinger winning high above the ice here at Steve Cady Arena. Stay tuned for the Red Hawk Radio post-game show coming up. Luke, Jack, and I will break down this game. Look ahead to next weekend for Miami at UMass Lowell. And talk about the series opening, the season opening series with Ferris State. Coming up after the game. 4:07 to go in the third period. RedHawks in their own zone after the draw. They win it and work it back in behind the RedHawk net. Giesbrecht with it, wraps it around the glass. To the right point for Red Savage, who keeps it in. Dances his way into the slot. Loose puck picked up by Schleppy. Works it up back to center for Ferris. Far circle, RedHawks with a puck. Reichwitz pokes it ahead in front of the Miami bench. Olmstead will reinforce it back into the Ferris State zone. Goes in behind the Bulldog net. Red Savage first to it. Good battle win against Evano. Red Savage plays it over there for Olmstead, who's going to, oh, never mind, that's Fletcher, who will poke it up to the left point. Dempsey the shot. Schleppy made the stop, the block with his left skate. Pops out back to center ice. Ferris State trying to work it forward. Dukovac came in, though, to wreak havoc on that, and RedHawks going to get the puck back in their own zone. Red Savage with it, skates forward, feeds left wing, tipped in by Barbolini over the Bulldog line to the near corner. McLaren first to it for Ferris State to the far side. In the circle, played out by McGrath, back to center. RedHawks trying to get control, they will. Cassetti over the Bulldog line left wing, top of the near circle. Fed it to the middle for McGrath. Here come the Bulldogs up the ice, left wing over the RedHawk line. Skating through is Dielstra, messed with by Clement. Dielstra, bad angle shot, went off the far side of the cage, below the goal line. RedHawks going to work this one out back to center ice. Ardicchia is on it, gave it back there for Dempsey. Far circle is Clement. Returns it back, Dempsey to the left wing for Barbolini. Chips over the Bulldog line on the left side and behind the net. Schulteis plays it over far corner. Correggialo is there for Miami. Gets it to the near circle, let it go for Drasner, but Robbie couldn't get the pass. Ardicchia clears it out back to center. Correggialo plays it in behind the Ferris State net. Stopped there by Ferris State netminder Giesbrecht. And held on to here behind the Ferris State cage by McLaren, just holding on to the puck, stick handling behind the net. Taking a breath. Bulldogs working up the near wing and a corner feed there to Schulteis. They wave the icing off. 2 minutes to go in the third. RedHawks lead the game 4-1. Drasner from behind his own net, worked it up the far wing boards through center, gets tipped around. No ice in the call as it goes to the far corner of the Ferris State zone. Ron sends it up the far wing boards, grabbed there by the Bulldogs. Working forward, Dielstra gets stopped there. The puck into skates. Merrick comes in to pick it up, flip it into the RedHawk zone, and Moulton with it in the near circle of his own end. Hampus Ryquist, right wing feed, get tipped up and out of play off the corny stick. And did they fan catch it? Well, I guess the fan caught it up there in about the 10th row. So an applause.
Pretty nice play, doing his best Ludwig Pearson impression.
He's wearing a Saints jersey. It's probably an early morning for him.
Yeah, really.
Messenberg with it over the Bulldog line on the left wing. Gets it to the near corner. Farthing in the Ferris zone. 1:20 left third period. Farthing pokes it ahead up the far wing to center ice. Schleppy gets it for Ferris State on the left wing over the RedHawk line. He was nailed there by Ryquist. Sent backward. Good clean hit. RedHawks clear the puck back to the Ferris zone. Even though with it, we'll slap this one up the ice. Right wing pass that hit Turk's stick and behind the RedHawk net. With a minute to go in the third period of the game. Clement gets out the lob wedge to throw this one back to the Ferris zone from his own end. That's an icing call as Ferris State never touched it on its way en route behind their net. And the draw will come here to the right of Ludwig Pearson with 52.9 seconds left in the third period.
Patrick, you mentioned a couple minutes ago that this game has really turned into a dump and chase fest for Miami. And you have to wonder, with all of their struggles late in games, especially games they're leading last year, if that's kind of a concerted effort to play just a more conservative style. And it seems like it's been working so far, even though they haven't possessed the puck a ton because they keep dumping it in. They seem like they've kind of controlled the pace here these last 10-15 minutes
I do agree.
They started dumping it.
Yep. I think Bob Daniels has called a timeout on the Ferris State bench. In his 31st season with the Bulldogs. Ferris State made it to the national championship game in the 2012 Frozen Four in Tampa Bay, and it was the 2011-2012 season. They lost in that game to Boston College. Daniels has taken Ferris State to numerous NCAA tournaments. Gotten to some regional finals in his time there. Mentioned the 473 career wins. On his resume, 17th best in all coaches in Division I college hockey.
Pretty impressive stuff for a little D2 school in the middle of Michigan.
D1, the only D1 sport is hockey. Used to have some really good teams back in the CCHA. There were some good games between these two teams at the tournament. Joe Louis in Detroit. So 48 to go in the third period. Puck to the near corner of the Miami zone. On a face-off win by Miami, Red Savage advances it forward. Fletcher plays it over the Bulldog line, left wing in the near corner. Slick was on it there. Pletzky down low to try to clean it up. Little battle ensues as McGrath pokes it free for Ferris State, right to Dempsey, who explodes his stick, top of the near circle, looking for a one-timer. The blade flew off. 23 to go in the third. Deals through with it through the center circle, feeds it near wing for McGrath, trying to get it over the Red Hawk line on the right wing, never did. Red Savage shut him down. McGrath plays it back here for Evano with 10 to go in the third in the Ferris State zone. First side Schulteis completely fanned on a pass. Puck trickles back to the Red Hawk zone. Dempsey to the far circle for Clement. And the Miami RedHawks will pull out a win in Game 2 of the series. Four to 1 your final score. As Miami improves to 1-0-1 on the year. They get a tie, they get a win in the first weekend of the year against the Ferris State Bulldogs. And this was the way the RedHawks really needed to cap off the series, Jack, to start the season. Pretty commanding and good 4-1 win over Ferris State.
It really was a good game to watch, a good game for a Miami fan to watch, because Miami really felt like they were in control of that one the entire way. And that's a good way to get rolling into UMass Lowell, and hopefully they can keep building and building on this pretty good series and eventually hopefully compete once NCHC time comes around.
You would hope. RedHawks look pretty good today. I think a lot of changes still need to be made, a lot of adjustments. RedHawks still a little rusty in some areas, you could argue, but for the most part, I think they're going to take this series opening tie, or the season, I keep saying series, the season opening tie and win to get this campaign started here in 22-23. As the RedHawks grab the win by a score of 4-1 this afternoon in front of the hometown crowd. Post-game show, Jack and I back in just a moment. But first we say hello to Luke West Poley, who will wrap up the game. Luke.
Patrick, thank you. Miami picks up their first win of the year over Ferris State as they cap off the series with a W here from Oxford. 4-1 is the final here on this Sunday. Take a look at our end of game stats after the final game of the series, with Miami winning it 4-1. RedHawks were narrowly outshot in this game, 31-27 by the Bulldogs. And Miami, as we mentioned, had difficulty getting the puck on net, 56 attempts with 29 wide. That did not find the target. RedHawks power play was solid, 1 for 3. Special teams were huge in this one for the RedHawks. Killed off a pair of 5-minute majors and actually came out on the plus side of those 2 penalties as they got a shorthanded goal from Red Savage on the latter major that came in the third. Take a look at our scoring recap. Miami got this one going early with Jack Olmstead's goal on the back door, assisted by Hampus Ryquist. Came just under 4 minutes into the first, and then really set the tone for the RedHawks throughout a game in which they were in the driver's seat for the majority of it. 12 minutes into the first, Miami would double their lead off another backdoor feed from Hampus Ryquist. This time it was Matthew Barbolini who picked up his second of the year. Ferris would answer about midway through the second period as Stepan Pokorny would knock in a power play strike that would make it a 2-1 game, but Miami would respond with a power play goal of their own as Joey Cassetti would find a rebound in the middle and put Miami back up 2 heading into the third. Thought maybe another chance would present itself for Ferris State as they got back into this one. They had a 5-minute power play after Ryan Savage was ejected for a hit to the head, 5-minute major and a game misconduct, but his brother picked him up as Red scored a shorthanded goal. That came a minute 7 into the third, and that was the final tally on the scoreboard here in this one to cap off the 4-1 Miami win. RedHawks 1-0-1 after 1 weekend of play. They'll be back in action next weekend on the road as they head to Lowell, Massachusetts to take on the Riverhawks. And for Ferris State, they fall to 0-1-1 officially on the season. And they will be back at home in Big Rapids next weekend, hosting Michigan Tech on Friday, and then another NCHC opponent in Western Michigan on Saturday night. All right, let's welcome the guys back. Patrick Geshan, Jack Schmelzinger. Guys, yesterday's results, the energy was there for some of it. We talked about pregame that the coaching staff wanted it to be a more complete performance, and it really felt that way. We felt that yesterday, even though the RedHawks kind of had control for more than half of that game, it wasn't an NCHCN type win, if you will, or performance, I should say, from the team yesterday. And this really felt a lot more like it. Never really a doubt from the start after that first goal that the RedHawks were going to come out on top in this one.
No, I thought really good effort today, much better than yesterday. And the key, the question was, Luke, can Miami respond better than they were yesterday? Can they be a better team than they were in the season opener last night? And I feel like they were. We saw the more complete effort. We saw the more complete poise, the more complete overall good game. Offensively, defensively, goaltending was solid again. I think you got to be really happy with the way Miami came out this weekend and played, and especially today, bouncing back in a tough Sunday game. Everybody's out of their routine. You don't know how the team's going to respond. Everybody's kind of tired, and the RedHawks come out and play a pretty decent game, all things considered, tonight against Ferris State. So if you're a Miami hockey fan, you're going to be pretty happy with the way this first weekend went.
Yeah, definitely. Got to be very happy. And this game felt different. We talked about it just a moment ago than the game yesterday. It almost felt more business-like. I don't know if you guys got the same vibe from it, but yesterday felt more like a track meet. It felt like a first game of the year. The house was packed. The energy was extremely high, and everyone was getting white knuckles gripping the sticks, it seemed like. But today it just felt a lot more like business as usual for this RedHawks team. Things were a lot calmer. It wasn't a crazy effort by any means and a huge difference in that category, but it was just an all-around better performance and a good win for this team.
Yeah, we talked about it a lot yesterday, Miami needing to be consistent throughout 60 minutes, 3 periods, and it seems like they did that today. I still think that the best period they played all weekend was probably that first period of the game yesterday, or at least the most dominant period. But like you said, they came in here today, they took care of business on Sunday, and they put together 3 pretty good periods. I don't think anything really spectacular stood out to me. It wasn't a super crazy, amazing game for Miami, but they came away with the 4-1 win, took care of business like you said, and they don't have to drive 6 hours home, so that might be the best part about it.
That's the best part about it.
That is the best part about it. Well, there were certainly some strong individual performances that I think deserve highlighting, and the first of which, I mean, what a weekend this was for Red Savage, the sophomore. We mentioned how young he is, but he just plays like a veteran. We see how much he's improved over the offseason. He got to be on that World Junior team in August after it was postponed, so got that play on the international level prior to coming into camp, and that skating ability and that shot has improved a lot. You can really see it, and he looks like he's going to be a Division I superstar for Miami this year.
Well, I think what's most impressive to me is the defensive ability. We didn't see him have a whole lot of defensive presence last year, and to me, he's getting into dirty areas, winning battles, making plays, laying hits, being more physical. He's not really the biggest guy out there, we know that, but he plays, bigger than he really is physically. To me, that's the most growth I've seen from him this year. Offensively, I mean, we saw his shot. His shot's got a lot better. He moves the puck well. We know about his offensive talent, but to me, defensively, just really impressed by the changes that he's made this year, and he needs to be a more defensive player to play professional hockey. He's got to be a more two-way player, and that is what we're trying to see, the results of that sort of work. So not only is he making huge contributions in the offensive zone for Miami, but also on the defensive side of things, just really being an effective player and generating turnovers and all these things that good defensive players do. That, to me, is really impressive this year.
Yeah, and just from watching a lot of these games against other NCHC opponents, the way that Red Savage has looked in these first couple of games, especially, like you said, on the defensive side, because when he's a centerman in the NHL, he's not going to be a first-line center, most likely an offensive juggernaut like he may be on Miami this year. So he will have to have that defensive part of the game be a really big part of it. But like you said, he just looks like a guy that maybe the Detroit Red Wings got a little bit of a steal on in the 4th round, even just seeing some of these guys that are coming through with other teams, 2nd-rounders, 3rd-rounders. I don't know, Red Savage, he's looking like one of the best players I've seen out on this ice the last few years, at least to start this one.
Yeah, he's the best player in the series, I think.
Yeah,
other than Pearson, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. And Red looking to take after his father, who, of course, is a Miami legend, and Brian Savage, and additionally he had a great NHL career as well, also played in the Olympics. Red certainly hoping to become that complete player that his father was and have a long professional career as well. Didn't really talk about it at all because it almost didn't even seem like it happened, but Ludwig Pearson made 30 saves today and only gave up 1 goal. Chris Bergeron said before the game he thought he was good yesterday, and he's so, casual about it, and what he just said, he said, I think he's going to be good again tonight, and he just doesn't really – he knows what to expect from Pearson at this point. It's not even out of the ordinary to see him have a performance like this where you're talking the save percentage near almost .950 in any given game. I mean, Pearson is just doing what he does best back there for Miami. You don't even really notice it sometimes, and then you look up at the scoreboard, and all of a sudden, he's made 30 saves.
Yeah, it's really, really impressive to see, and it just continues the consistency and all that. I'm really excited to see what's in the future for him, but really good weekend to start the year. We talked about rust yesterday. He had no rust at all this weekend.
Yeah, Luke, and I like what you said about, or what you relayed, what Chris Bergeron said, that he thought Ludwig Pearson was probably going to play well tonight. Well, if you ask anyone in this building or anyone who's paid attention to Miami hockey for the last 2 years, before pretty much any game, do you think Ludwig Pearson is going to be good tonight? The answer would be a resounding yes, because every night he's just good. I mean, every once in a while he'll have a little bit of a clunker, and even most of those games you can always make the argument, well, he kind of got hung out to dry here a few different times. But when you put Ludwig Pearson in situations to succeed, he pretty much always does.
Yeah, and in the way that Coach Bergeron brought it up, it was just so casual. He just expects Pearson to have performances like this night in and night out. But guys, also as well, something that Coach Bergeron referenced earlier on in that press conference was he was pleased with his team's ability to play in front of Pearson, where he feels now his goalie can really shine and that he's not going to be overworked as much this year. Maybe a little more work than he'd like to have 31 shots against Miami, slightly outshot in this one, but this is certainly a different team in terms of what we see defensively than what last year we would see, 40, 50 shots a game. They'd be asking Pearson to make upwards of 40 to 45 saves, and the RedHawks certainly hoping that he'll get a better chance to showcase his skills facing only, shots in the 20-30 range, and that's what we saw throughout the weekend.
I still think an NCHC team would get 40 shots tonight. I really do, because Ferris got 31. That's not the same level of offense that you're going to see in the league play this year. But you're right. Yeah, hopefully Miami's defensive play can clean that up a little bit and allow them to generate less shots, and hope Ludwig doesn't have to get as tired all the time making all these stops and saves.
Yep.
But yeah, I agree. It'll be interesting to see, and it was interesting to see Miami get outshot tonight.
Yeah.
Because that just continues that theme from last year a little bit. So that might be a little concerning to see when you review this game.
I think, though, to be fair, the two majors might have skewed that margin a little bit,
right.
But you can't take that fully off the shoulders of the RedHawks. The penalties certainly were a problem tonight. You're lucky enough that the special teams was good. You got a shorthanded goal from Red Savage. I mean, you're not going to ask for shorthanded goals ever. They just kind of happen, and that's another thing that's going to need to be cleaned up once you get into NCHC play. This league does all the little things right. That's why they're so good. And when you start playing against the Denvers and the North Dakotas that are going to convert on a power play at a 25 to 30% clip, you take that many penalties, you're probably giving up 2 to 3 goals in this game on the power play alone.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there was a time last year, I remember one of the games, I don't remember the specifics of the game, but Miami was up, and they ended up taking 2 major penalties after they took the lead, and I remember thinking, wow, I've never seen anything like that before, but they just did it again. So if you're Miami, you really just do have to make sure once you start getting into those games against some of the best teams in the country, you cannot be taking penalties like that. And even against Ferris, they're lucky that they got out unscathed taking both of those kind of bad penalties.
Yeah, for sure. And one last thing before we look forward to next week, guys. First career game, there were 9 freshmen that are on this team. Not all of them got to play this weekend, but we did see quite a few. There were some lineup changes with guys inserted tonight, some guys taken out. Your overall impressions on a lot of those guys playing in their first career games?
The depth that RedHawks really needed. Strong defensemen we're seeing. I'm really impressed by Helene. Dukovac's going to be a good speedy forward that's going to develop well.
He was a force
here
today.
I think he'll be one of maybe the next guy, next top forward Miami's going to have. We saw some good stuff from Taransky yesterday when he played. I'll try it again. Caragiallo didn't play yesterday, but he made some noise forward-wise today. Blake Messenberg's going to be a good depth forward. I mean, you just got a lot of these guys that came right in and made contributions that's really good. And if I am a Red Hawk fan, I'm really excited to see that and to see that these players as freshmen could step in and be a really big part of the force of the future of this program right away. No really feeling out process or transition period for any of them this weekend. They came right in and made an impact. That's a really good sign to see this early.
Yeah, a couple of those names that Patrick mentioned really stood out to me as well. Dukovac, like you guys said, really good on offense this series. William Holleen was getting put out in all situations, taking big face-offs in the defensive zone. Zane Dempsey had a really good game, I thought, yesterday. Today looked like he was just gripping the stick a little bit too tight, made a few bad mistakes, and I thought that Michael Feenstra had a really good game yesterday too. Really long stick, good defensive defenseman. I said it a lot of times yesterday. So, yeah, I think it's a pretty good Red Hawk recruiting class. We were talking about this coming into the series. It looks like one of the best ones in the recent years on paper, and I think that this series did nothing to prove that wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. And kind of teeing off both your points, Chris Bergeron said the lineup changes that he made coming into today weren't necessarily the fault of anybody. We saw Taransky come out, and of course we saw Michael Feenstra come out as well, but he said that was just kind of because the Red Hawks had more guys that deserved playing time than they had spots available in the lineup, and so those were kind of predetermined. But I think what impressed me most about a lot of the freshmen was their ability to just get involved. It was nearly every single guy. Sometimes you have those freshmen, you try to pair them up with vets, and it almost seems like you're hiding them on the ice and kind of letting them learn from some of those older guys. And that's not to say that they can't take anything away, but those guys had their nose right in the play all night. I mean, how many times do we see Max Dukovac go in for a loose puck and go make a play? I mean, these guys were just all over the place. They weren't being hidden at all on the ice. They were right front and center throughout the weekend, and I think I was really impressed by that, considering these guys have no experience at the Division I level prior to this weekend.
None at all. Yeah, I think just really good, and not a whole lot of rust really for them. Again, seamlessly fit right in, and excited to see what they do moving forward.
Yeah, Coach Bergeron really liked their process. He said their preparation for this one was good, and it certainly looked that way, especially for those freshmen, integrated very well into the lineup. Well, let's look ahead to next weekend. The echelon kind of lifts up a little bit. The quality of the opponent lifts up a little bit. You head on the road for the first time, first flight of the year. Of course, that changes things a little bit as well. Miami heads to Lowell, Massachusetts to take on the UMass Lowell RiverHawks. That's a team that's going to be fighting for a spot in the NCAA tournament right now. 16th in one poll, 17th in another. They are right on the bubble, and definitely a step up in quality in terms of the opponent next week, guys.
Yeah, kind of exciting for Miami after playing a team that you probably should beat in Ferris State. It'll be interesting to see the Red Hawks go to, like you said, a top 20 opponent in the nation and really kind of have a chance to prove really how good this team can be and how well these freshmen have really meshed in with the older guys.
Yeah, UMass has built their program back into a Hockey East competitor. That's one of the top conferences in the country. Should be really interesting. They're giving away rally towels on Friday, so that'll be fun.
Yeah.
Rally towels to the students, and then Saturday's Touch a Truck night. So if you've ever wanted to touch a truck, you can go to Lowell, Massachusetts and do that prior to the game on Saturday. We will have coverage of both of those games. Patrick heading out to the East Coast to call those, and it should be really, really fun to see the Red Hawks hit the road for the first time next weekend. Friday, 7:15 p.m. start. Saturday, it'll be a 6:05 p.m. start from Lowell as the Red Hawks take on UMass Lowell in their first road series of the year. Patrick, what are your, initial impressions, initial thoughts, things leading into next weekend?
It's going to be a big test. I don't think Miami was tested this weekend. I'll be brutally honest with you. This is going to be, on paper, one of the weaker teams they play all year. So we're going to really figure out what this team's made of next weekend. It's going to be plain and simple. I mean, it's going to be a loud crowd, a good atmosphere. Red Hawks going to be tested on the road against a really good team. So, we had all of these good things to say about the team this weekend, all the hopeful things. Do those stand after this upcoming weekend? I mean, this is going to be a big test. And so we'll see what this team is made of. We'll get a really good predictor of what this season's going to be like next weekend for sure.
Yeah, UMass Lowell coming off a big win. That was last night. They're playing only one game this weekend, and they blanked St. Lawrence 4-0 was the final in that one in the RiverHawks home opener. Really, really quality opponent, and quite honestly, guys, looking up and down their lineup and doing some reading on the team that they have, 16th in the nation might be a little bit underrated for that squad. So certainly interested to see how the RedHawks stack up against them next weekend. Well, guys, it was really, really fun to be back on the air for more Miami hockey, and this was great to see a couple competitive games and the RedHawks get a win on opening weekend. Just kind of a feel-good result here on a Sunday that gives you some confidence moving forward. But any final thoughts on this opening weekend to play big picture as we move forward?
Good to be back. Really good to be back with you too. And it's going to be another great season. We'll see what happens. Hopefully this team can figure it out.
Yeah, about the same. Excited to see if the RedHawks can make a statement next week in Lowell. I think they got it in them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that this team, there's a lot of new faces, but that's kind of what you like when you're trying to change that culture. They're new guys, and they're obviously very excited. That was evident throughout the weekend, and really, really anticipating what we're going to see in Massachusetts next Friday and Saturday. We'll have coverage of both of those games. Once again, 7:15 p.m. start Friday, 6:05 p.m. start Saturday. Also, we will be on the air Saturday afternoon as Jack and I will have the call of the homecoming Miami football game against Kent State. That'll be a 3:30 kick. Coverage beginning at 3 o'clock for that game on Saturday. So a full, busy weekend on the airwaves for us here on Red Hawk Radio. Really excited for that. But prior to that, we'll get a chance to take a breath. We got 4 days off and then a big weekend coming up
Days
next
off?
week.
What are you talking about, days off?
Days off. No days off.
We
You
got
got to prep.
yeah, but I mean, we got class. We get
You
the
got-
last
you got
golf
any
match
Baden
tomorrow.
golf? Yeah, that's what I'm.
That's on Monday against Talawanda tomorrow in
Oh,
Houston.
Jeez, little grudge
the
match.
Match
triumphant
play.
return of Patrick Geshan.
And then we're done. That's it.
And then you're done.
Forever?
Who
We'll
knows?
see.
I'll let the media speculate about that one.
Yeah.
I was going to say, no way I get that scoop right
We'll
here,
let
right
the
now. I
we'll let the
wish.
talk shows debate that for a little while before we get that figured out. Well, regardless of how busy you may or may not be throughout the weekend, we will be back on the air next weekend. Hockey Friday, hockey and football Saturday. Excited to be with you then. So until then, we will sign off the air for now. For Patrick Geshan, Jack Schmelzinger, all of our hardworking crew here at Red Hawk Radio, thanks for tuning in. Miami picks up their first win of the season on this day, 4-1 over Ferris State, as the Red Hawks improve to 1-0-1. We'll see you next weekend. Until then, Luke West Poley saying so long.